If I had a nickel for every time Plagued Moth has admitted to watching child pornography, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice. That's right, Plagued Moth, who is perhaps most well known right now for saying that he accidentally watched child pornography by mistake, has also admitted in the past to watching a completely different group of child pornography videos. Yeah, twice. And in this other incident, um, it wasn't an accident. He actually admitted that he purposefully watched child pornography. We're going to go back to a 2021 stream. I believe it was January 2021, where Plagued Moth was just talking with his chat, kind of chilling and chatting. And he gets on the topic of a TikTok user by the name of Sophie Ryan. Now, Sophie Ryan got into hot water because she apparently uploaded videos of herself molesting her 3-year-old brother. Welcome to the video. And yeah, so Plague Moth, of course, jumped on this because, CP is like his bread and butter on his channel, and he made videos, I think it was at least 2 videos about this scenario. And he showed that these videos existed on his stream, so we know that they were there, even if he's taken them down since then. Then he goes into talking about the case. Just to clarify, we're going to put up Plague Moth in his own words, saying that he is talking about child pornography. So here you go.
Even if it wasn't taken from someone like, a Sophie girl, like where they have child porn that they're distributing and blackmailing people and shit with it, that's beyond fucked up.
So we've established that he is talking about CP videos. Now we have Plagued Moth on his stream saying this.
The most oh my god, there's an actual question in there? Holy shit. No way. The most disturbing topic I've actually covered? Kind of hard to say, I guess. Probably the TikTok child porn thing. And then actually take that back. That was pretty bad, but the most recent, the Sophie Ryan thing, that's probably the worst because there's actual, like, I had to see some fucked shit for that one.
You didn't have to watch it. I don't know what the hell this phrasing is. I had to watch some fucked up shit for that. You didn't have to. You literally do not have to. Nobody was holding a gun to your head saying, watch this 3-year-old kid get sexually assaulted. But yet he says he did. And there is another statement he makes that probably is something he would point to trying to debunk this claim. And I want to show that right now, sort of in fairness. This is where he says that he watched a censored version, which may sound familiar because this is exactly what he says about the other CP video he's accused of watching.
Basically, TikTok is like, the shit will get shared on there and it gets removed quickly, but the problem is it pops up in what is called your For You page, which is like your feed, like your Facebook feed, your news page, and it plays automatically no matter what. That's how I found out about this shit. And in the last video specifically, I saw censored versions of this, thankfully.
Now, if Plagued Moth had stopped there, if he had just completely stopped, full stop, end of sentence, and said no more, then maybe he would have a case to try to debunk the idea that he purposefully watched child pornography. But unfortunately for him, he did not stop there, and he continued and directly said that yes, he did watch the uncensored CP videos. Here you go.
And the original TikTok incident that I reported on, I was reporting content that I saw, so inadvertently, yes, but it's not like I'm keeping shit and keeping on my computer editing it. I don't have to go through anything like that. I wouldn't do these videos like that.
If that sounds familiar to you, that's because that was exactly what Burned Show's defense was that he watched CP, but then he deleted it from his computer and didn't keep it. And in both Burned Show's case and Plagued Moth's case, not keeping the video is irrelevant. You watched it. And with that, Plagued Moth has outed himself twice for watching child pornography. Literally, you just are volunteering this information, Moth. You are more self-destructive than a majority of the people you cover on your channel. So as you may recall, Plagued Moth claimed that he watched a child pornography video by accident.
So are you saying you've never seen Daisy's Destruction? You saw a trailer
No.
on accident? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, Peter Scully made a trailer for it. It was played in, part of it is actually played in the 60 Minutes special, But whatever this guy was throwing around, it's the fucking, it's like I guess the full trailer or something. I'm not about to find out. All I know is I saw like it starts with there's like a fucking the kid's running towards the girl, and I'm like, nope.
Then, more recently, I discovered that he had watched a completely different set of child porn videos, again saying it was by accident.
Even if it wasn't taken from someone like, a Sophie girl, like where they have child porn that they're distributing and blackmailing people or shit with it, that's beyond fucked up. The most oh my god, there's an actual question in there? Holy shit, no way. The most disturbing topic I've actually covered, kind of hard to say, I guess, probably the TikTok child porn thing. And then actually take that back. That was pretty bad, but the most recent, the Sophie Ryan thing, that's probably the worst because there's actual, like, I had to see some fucked shit for that one. Basically, TikTok is like, the shit will get shared on there and it gets removed quickly, but the problem is it pops up in what is called your For You page, which is like your feed, like your Facebook feed, your news page, and it plays automatically no matter what. That's how I found out about this shit. And in the last video specifically, I saw censored versions of this, thankfully. And the original TikTok like incident that I reported on, I was reporting content that I saw, so inadvertently, yes, but it's not like I'm keeping shit and like keeping on my computer editing it. I don't have to go through anything like that. Like I wouldn't do these videos like that.
Well, what if I told you there was a third instance where he yet again has said that he watched a completely different set of child porn videos by accident?
It's just bad. It's cringy. And it's just messed up to see a lot of stuff. There was a lot of stuff. That's why I made that child porn video thing, exposing that, because that was a huge thing. Huge. And it was for like a week straight. You couldn't even change your profile picture on there a while ago. They'd black you out or gray you out or whatever. And I finally got to change mine, but people were already starting to spread shit around. And now it's basically just gore again. But I mean, my thought on that is like, gore is one thing. I'm desensitized to that, and I did that intentionally through like an edgy phase in my teens. It ended up paying off because shock sites don't shock me anymore. It's kind of like oh, okay. But it's different when it's something like that, especially as a parent, even when I wasn't a parent. I swear to God, I know. And I never thought, like, I've never been one with keeping up with trends. I've been very anti-trend. But having to see that much of children it was bad. I stopped reporting it. I couldn't take it anymore. I couldn't take looking at it anymore. And it was just fucking disgusting. And these kids are sharing that around. It's like, okay, that's a felony. And you're exploiting a child whether you know it or not. And it's fucked up.
And then I found out that he had watched CP when he was 13 through LimeWire, probably kicking off his interest in child pornography, if I had to guess, just like it kicked off his interest in gore at the exact same time in his life.
If anybody remembers LimeWire, that was the only time that I've ever had an incident where like shit like that popped up, or I've been able to, or had to see that. And I was like 13 at the time, so it didn't faze me too much then, and realized, I wasn't fully grasping what I was looking at. I was just like, okay, I wanted a Korn album, which is very true. I was very into Korn back then, not a porn video. The LimeWire was fucked up.
Now, what if I told you there was a fifth time that he admitted to watching child porn?
It's like, what the fuck is happening? There was a girl going on live on TikTok, which you have to have 1,000 subscribers to do. And she was 13. She gave out her first and middle name, where she lived. There was she had like 500 fucking middle-aged men in her comments saying the most disgusting things, and she was just queefing. Yep. That was a thing.
Jesus fucking Christ. Once, maybe an accident, kind of a little suspicious, but whatever. Twice, oh, now we're getting into really suspicious territory. Don't know if I believe you. 3 times, no, it wasn't a mistake. 4 times, you are watching child pornography on purpose. 5 times, I believe you are a pedophile. Now keep in mind that these 5 instances are only times that he's spoken of. There may be more times. Who fucking knows? Now, I was going to put all of these in 3 separate videos, but I can't in good conscience do that. I feel like holding back this information would be really fucking just a bad idea. So while it may have made for good content, I would rather just get the information out there. Now, worst of all is this statement from Plagued Moth, where he says that his children... God damn. Where he says that his children are likely to be exposed to gore and CP, and just acts like there's nothing he can do about it. What a great father.
I would avoid TikTok, honestly, in a lot of different ways. Unless you're already there and you got your setup and you're cool with it. It one way or another, it ends up being some toxic shit. And yes, I know if you interact with certain things, you get it in your algorithm, and that's where I went wrong, because I would go into these comments and be like, fucking report this, but it's like a mass sharing of either trolling, either gore. Like the big one is, and it's fucked up because my daughter's on TikTok and so is my son. You know, the thing with TikTok is your profile picture can be a video. Why? I don't know. I think it's stupid, but they'll put a lot of more recent suicide videos or gore videos in general, and it's like, holy shit. Like, you know, the last thing I want my 10-year-old son seeing is someone blowing their head off with a shotgun. You know, that may not bother me. That's gonna fuck his brain up. No pun intended. That's bad. But that's what they were doing with other things. And it's even worse. I can't even believe it. Like, holy shit.
One last thing I want to tack on here is that Plagued Moth corrects himself a couple times in these clips because he outright says that he's excited to see child pornography. There are a couple times where Plagued Moth says that he got to see child pornography. Like, you know, I got to see this. And he quickly corrects himself to say, you know, I had to see it. So I'm just going to tack those 2 clips on here, just because, motherfucker, what the fuck?
That's probably the worst, because there's actual, like, I had to see some fucked shit for that one.
Shit like that popped up, or I've been able to, or had to see that.
Hey guys, who's ready for a video that isn't any fun at all? We've had a bit of fun with Dylan Morgan, Plagued Moth, this month. Gone through some funny shit, some awful stuff about him, but, you know, kind of made fun of him along the way. But this is something that really is not going to be fun, because this goes into Plagued Moth having a history, likely, of pedophilia. You may think that I'm kidding around, but this is actually not going to be a joke video. So Plagued Moth has made a very big thing about saying that anyone who saves an image with a child in it for any reason, whether the child be fully clothed, whether they be, you know, whatever, for any reason, he calls that pedophilia. And he says that, you know, people only save those pictures to jerk off to them. Like, literally. This is, you know, his actual fucking stance on this shit. And you can agree or disagree on any level of that argument. I don't give a fuck, because we're going to go into Plagued Moth's history of images that he's saved, and as we go along, it's going to become irrelevant what your opinion is, because it gets, you know, to the point that's kind of indefensible when you look at the whole of the situation. So one of Plagued Moth's old usernames is Dylan955. You can tell this because his email address, one of his email addresses, he has multiple email addresses, multiple usernames. He's gone under a lot of different pseudonyms. One of his email addresses is Dylan955, Dillan. But yeah, so Dylan955 is one of his old usernames, and there is a Pinterest account with the username Dylan955, and this user goes by the name Satan. Should already be obvious this is Plagued Moth, but they have recipes, as per Plagued Moth's often stated love of cooking shit. They have D&D images, D&D campaign stuff, as per Plagued Moth's very outspoken love of D&D. Has yoga, magic and mysticism, different things like that. Everything that Plagued Moth is into is on this account, which is under his username, Dylan955. So we're just going to look into some of the things he saved, and it's going to start out innocuous, and we're going to get worse as we go along here. And I should point out, this is going to feature child nudity in his fucking favorites that he selected and he saved. And in his own words, the only reason you save things like this is to beat off to it. So it's not going to be fun. It is of course going to be censored, for fuck's sake, and I have reported a couple of these images. But we need to make a record of what he's done. So here we go. For anybody wondering, since it's kind of hard to tell what's going on in this picture, this is a painting that specifically is of a dead child waiting in bed. Gross. When you realize that Dylan Morgan, Plagued Moth, has openly, directly, and repeatedly said that the only reason he believes anyone would ever save a picture of a child is to pleasure themselves to it, this really fucking... just icky. Just gross. Disturbing. I'm just gonna move on. Now this image right here, as you can see, very flat-chested, very young looking character, the body type, everything like that. This is the body type that Plagued Moth says in his videos is a child body type. He himself has described this body type as the body type of a child. And he said this while trying to attack others. And yet, here he is saving an image that I had to censor because this is a nude image. And lastly, before we get to the end here, I just want to give a final warning to anybody. Lastly, we have an image that Plagued Moth saved of a half-naked little girl. This does not need to be censored because there's nothing actually shown in terms of genitalia or anything like that, but he is saving an image of a little girl with clothes off. The fact remains that Plagued Moth says the only reason to ever look at, much less save, an image like this is if you are attracted to that. And he saved this image. So he is attracted to this child, by his own definition. And honestly, it makes me sicker than most things about him. And when I set out to make this video, I did not think I was actually going to be like one of these dramatic people who's like, oh, I'm so disturbed. But in practice, actually sitting down to actually start speaking about this, words become difficult to come out of your fucking face because holy fucking shit, dude. And, look at the size of this kid. The dog is still a puppy, and the dog is huge compared to the kid. Some of the other images, you may have to look closely because there'll be like a picture of a little girl, and you might say, well, I don't know if that's a little girl, but then you see she's like, elbow height to the other adults around, different shit like that. And it just is fucking disturbing, and it says a lot that you can look back in Plagued Moth's history just on the surface level and find way more on him than he's ever accused anybody else of. And there is absolutely no defense here because some of these images are not something you could even mistake for an adult. And again, by his own words, the only reason he would ever save something like this is attraction. And we're done with that video. And we're just going to move on to the next one. And we're not even going to fucking talk about this again. See ya. So, Plagued Moth did a live stream recently. This is how a lot of these videos are going to start. Plagued Moth did a live stream recently where he fucked up really badly. One thing that Plagued Moth likes to really harp on, because he has no evidence of like 99% of what he says, and the other 1% is a stretch, out of context, or fake. One thing he likes to harp on is this image. Now, in the past, I've said that this image is a self-portrait of the artist, who was 20 years old. That's because she has a lot of self-portraits of herself. Here's a self-portrait, 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 here's a self-portrait. Yes, self-portraits with the same body type. In fact, this is pretty much identical to the Demon Girl, but without the fucking wings. Same haircut, same body type, self-portrait. Now, Plagued Moth on the stream had a bit of a bombshell to drop, so let's look at that now.
Okay, so we're gonna go to, I'm gonna warn you now, it doesn't have 100% nudity, it's covered by, like, pubes and shit. But I'm going to show this lolicon that he saved. From his own words, he said it was one image out of 500 plus, and then he goes on to make excuses. And my rebuttal to that as well is it's like if you saved one file of CSAM, does it make it any less severe? Now, technically, lolicon is illegal. It is against TOS on a lot of sites because it is, by definition, it is drawn child exploitation. Not everybody necessarily draws those things for this purpose. However, a lot of people do find it that way. So, this was the image. This is one of quite a few images. He says it is a 20-year-old. And we got to go down quite a bit. Actually, no, we don't. I saved it here. I want the demon lady. Okay, so from the artist herself, who he claims to know in real life, she is like 12 or something. I hope you mean as cute to have.
Everybody, please, a round of applause for Plagued Moth, who is so obsessed with this drawing that he's looked at it about 5,000 more times than I have, which is probably once or twice in my fucking life. He is so obsessed that he kept checking it and checking it and checking it and checking it, looking and looking and looking at this girl, until he scrolled all the way down and he found a single comment that, hey, changes things. And, hey, I know what you're thinking. Sounds like that girl is kind of making fun of that guy and, you know, giving him some shit. How do we know she's not just fucking with him? Especially when every other comment saying the same type of thing has no response from her saying that. It's almost like she's responding to someone she knew or someone that she was joking with and, you know, kind of was fucking them over. I know what you're saying, but we're going to go past any kind of explanations because they don't fucking matter. To date, Plagued Moth is the only fucking person who has been so obsessed with this image that he kept looking and looking and looking at it until he found something. What we're going to focus on here is the fact that Plagued Moth is showing this image on his live stream. Moth, Dylan Morgan, dude, I saw a self-portrait of the artist who was a tomboy with a slender figure and the same fucking hairstyle, who did a lot of self-portraits of herself surrounding this image. You went and you looked and you found alternate information that changed things. You knew that this was apparently, if she's not joking, an underage girl in this image, and you posted it on your stream and disseminated it to your audience. Plagued Moth, you knowingly distributed child pornography? Like, you can't even say you didn't know about that comment, because I think nobody but you knew about that comment. But you were aware before you did this, and you purposefully and willfully shared child pornography on your stream to everybody, uncensored? I mean, even in my video where I was addressing these allegations, I censored the image. Like, bro, you distributed child pornography to your audience using your YouTube channel? You posted CP on YouTube? Dylan Morgan, Plagued Moth, officially and unquestionably used his platform to try to distribute child pornography.
If you saved one file of CSAM, does it make it any less severe? Actually, no, we don't. I saved it. I saved it. I saved it. I saved it. I saved it.
Alright, in this video we're just going to be highlighting yet another lie that Dylan Morgan, Plagued Moth, told about the child porn video he allegedly watched by accident. This is just a little bit of a cleanup video just to get at something that he claimed and disprove it. It's not in and of itself a tremendous thing, but when coupled with all the other lies he's told, it paints a very vivid picture of just how dishonest he has been about watching this child porn video. So as you are very well aware by now, in May of 2021, Plagued Moth said that he watched a CP video, quote-unquote, by accident. Now, he would go on to tell many different stories about how this happened, so now it's impossible to believe anything he said other than the fact that he saw a CP video. Now, when Plagued Moth went on Turkey Tom's livestream years later, he said that in May of 2021, when he said that on his Discord, he didn't know that he had actually just seen footage from 60 Minutes Australia. 60 Minutes Australia did a documentary/interview with the guy who created the CP video that Plagued Moth saw, and which he has been obsessed with ever since. So Plagued Moth's defense was, oh, in May of 2021, I had no idea that what I was watching was actually a clip from a 60 Minutes Australia video. I thought I was watching the real thing. Luckily, I later found out that this 60 Minutes Australia video was actually what I had seen. So keep that in mind, because we're going to look all the way back to a January 2021 live stream in which Plagued Moth showed his YouTube front page. Now, most unsettling on this page, right off the bat, is that he lets his children use his YouTube account, which means his children are getting recommended gore videos and death videos and true crime videos when they sit down and use Daddy's computer. You can see in his recommended videos there's a lot of content for children, and you can see that he's subscribed to the Peppa Pig channel, amongst many other channels that his kids have subscribed to. Some of the children's videos that he shows on the stream actually have been watched partway through. So yes, his kids are getting onto his Plagued Moth official YouTube account and watching videos amid recommendations of content that he would watch. Very unsafe, very disgusting, not a good father. But what we're really going to focus on beyond that is something else in his subscription feed. In his subscriptions, he has 60 Minutes Australia. This means that Moth subscribed to 60 Minutes Australia in or before January 2021. Months later, he would say on his Discord that he watched part of Daisy's Destruction. This would happen in May of 2021. So nowadays, when Moth goes around using his new lie, saying, oh, in May of 2021, I didn't realize that there was a 60 Minutes Australia documentary and that I was actually watching clips from that. I thought I was watching the real Daisy's Destruction. That can't possibly be true, because 4 months earlier, he had subscribed to 60 Minutes Australia. So he knew the difference between the two videos because he had watched the documentary. And how do we know he watched the documentary? Well, I would ask you, dear viewer, why the fuck else would Plagued Moth subscribe to 60 Minutes Australia? Okay, so I know this video is going to be under 5 minutes. I know this one's going to be short, just trust me. Alright, so remember how I've been saying that Plagued Moth has been getting drunk, getting stoned, and breaking down on stream? This has led to him accidentally admitting a bunch of shit. Like, I straight up have too much to work with here. This is why I decided in the first place to do a video per day this month. It's because it's just too much to go through, and if I was going through all of this for one big mega video, you would leave like 1 hour into the 5-hour video. So we're going to go over this really quick and just show an example of how completely sloppy this guy is getting. Like, he is freaking the fuck out. He admitted to being a pedophile. I'm not fucking joking. He accidentally said that he is a pedophile. My God. So here's the clip.
He made a nasty video about me being a pedophile, and I want to shout him out because, like, while that's not incorrect, his work is actually where it's at. He made a nasty video about me being a pedophile. While that's not incorrect, he made a nasty video about me being a pedophile. While that's not incorrect,
Yikes. So Plagued Moth just admitted on his live stream in front of all of his viewers that he is a pedophile. Now, of course, watching this, if you're a person with half a brain, you're saying, well, obviously he misspoke, obviously it was an accident, obviously this, obviously that. But the point is, Plagued Moth doesn't leave any room for anyone to defend themselves when he makes accusations. No matter what he accuses people of, he allows absolutely no defense. In fact, if you try to give any sort of defense, he'll say that that proves you did it even more because now you're frantically making up lies. So we're going to apply Plagued Moth's standard to himself. We're going to use his rules in dealing with him. Plagued Moth just admitted on a live stream that he is a pedophile. One of the things that's been a point of contention regarding Plagued Moth is a fellow by the name of Ripper. Now, Ripper apparently is someone who is a pedophile, who makes pedophile-like mixtapes, and you'll have to forgive me if I get any of this shit wrong, because this is all stuff I had to learn about because Plagued Moth. Yeah, so Ripper is apparently someone that Plagued Moth has been making multiple videos about, trying to essentially cash in on a dark web pedophile who is eluding authorities, ? And one of the things that Plagued Moth said along the way was that one of his ex-moderators was Ripper. So he said that one of his former moderators, a guy by the name of Fergie, if you can believe it, was this Ripper guy. I don't know why he thought it was a good point to point out that someone he harbored in his Discord was an infamous child predator. As Cold Raven has pointed out, this Fergie character, who was a moderator on Plagued Moth's Discord, again, was a problematic person from the beginning, and I use the word problematic because I'm talking about this dude posting pornography to an all-ages Discord, and, you know, doing a bunch of different things that were, like, very concerning. According to Cold Raven, Plagued Moth was told multiple times about this Fergie guy, his moderator, acting out of pocket, and what Plagued Moth would do was take Fergie's side. Now, at one point, this Fergie dude apparently talked shit about Plagued Moth, and so Plagued Moth came out with videos saying that Fergie was Ripper, this infamous, unknown internet pedophile. I know, it's all very confusing and stupid. But yeah, the reason that this is semi-important is because by obscuring who Ripper actually is, some people, like Lazy Bedhead and others, have said that Plagued Moth essentially was helping Ripper keep his identity secret by pointing to the wrong person and saying that that was Ripper. Are any of you following this? Essentially, think of it this way. Everybody wants to know the real identity of Ripper so he can go to jail and get beaten to death. Plagued Moth says, oh, Fergie, that guy I'm having a fight with, Fergie is Ripper. That turns out to not be true, but rather just be something Plagued Moth made up to get back at Fergie. And so people are saying, why are you obscuring the identity of this person who belongs in prison? Why are you making it more muddied? Why are you making it more difficult? So hopefully that's clear to all of you guys, because this video's got to be under 5 minutes. This is all the time I got to do this. The reason that this is coming up now in Plagued Month is because Plagued Moth admitted on a recent live stream that he lied and that Fergie was not Ripper.
And one thing that I'd like to add on to that is because, you know, you all remember me talking about Ripper this, Ripper that. Fergie was Ripper. Fergie's a Ripper copycat.
Now, it gets a bit crazier from here because Plagued Moth claims that his contacts within law enforcement have fed him secret information.
Ripper itself is actually a group. Ripper is a group very much like Anonymous, but think of it like Anonymous from hell. These people don't necessarily know each other, but they find each other. Then they post, and then they vanish. That is what Ripper is. Ripper is a collection of producers and collectors of the most obscene and terrible CSAM and CSEM content. And my connections to authorities who actually cover these types of things and make arrests in these types of things, the only things that I know about Ripper, the Ripper group other than that, is it was based on the Ripping Crew, which was a very real group of killers, necrophiles, and cannibals who worked together. And that the actual group itself, one of the people being looked at is a medical professional in Germany who is thought to be a producer. But that is what Ripper is. This is what our world is in the dark underbelly, and that's the kind of shit that I want to poke at more, because it's like, I feel that this needs to be talked about more. And these are some of the things I've actually tried to bring to, like, Mama Max's attention and shit. Isn't that funny? That was my ignorance. Like, I didn't know either. We all didn't fucking know. Oof. I know it ties back into my drama or whatever, but I still can't get over those people trying to defend Fergie, who was a Ripper copycat. There's chat logs of him going on to fucking pedo forums on the dark web, and him asking for people to cut his name and the names of his mixtapes into children and violate them for him. Like, that's a real fucking person, and they're not in jail. At least that I know about.
Wow. So Plague Moth went from lying about one of his former moderators being that Ripper dude to now making up a story about Ripper being the next Anonymous or something. And, you know, hell, this may all be true, but I very sincerely doubt that Plagued Moth has secret connections within law enforcement that are feeding him information about an ongoing investigation and, like, risking the entire thing. So it just floored me to hear this, because not only is Plagued Moth openly admitting to lying about the identity of this dude, he's openly lying about saying that someone else was this dark web internet predator, and he's openly admitting this without any qualms. He doesn't even act like, boy, you know, I really shouldn't have done that. He just says it all matter of fact, like there's really no problem with it. It's like, by the way, guys, I lied about who this was. Anyway, here's another crazy story about fucking pedophile Anonymous. So this is a huge vindication for Lazy Bedhead and people who were associated with this call-out, where they were saying, you know, Plagued Moth, don't lie about the identity of a pedophile that people are hunting. So yeah, I hope that those people are happy right now, because you are 100% vindicated. Plagued Moth has admitted that he was full of shit. Okay, so if you haven't seen the stream where Lyrics interviewed Plagued Moth and ripped Plagued Moth's heart out of his ribcage and fed it to him live in front of his entire audience, metaphorically speaking, I would highly suggest you go watch this interview now. The link is in the description below. You don't want to miss this, because Plagued Moth in the interview admits to lying about me being a pedo, admits to lying about TCR being a pedo, admits to lying about everything, and is caught in lie after lie after lie on other things as well. But the point we're going to get to today is there was a lie that Plagued Moth told straight to Lyrics' face. And it's a very, very, very obvious lie that can be proven within moments of him speaking on the live stream. Like Plagued Moth says something, he lies to Lyrics, and then he disproves his own lie about 15 minutes or less later in the interview. and nobody fucking noticed. Except for your pal Slimebeast, who spotted that shit right away. So let's get into the lie that Plagued Moth told the lyrics on his live stream that nobody fucking saw. Here we go. So back in 2021, Plagued Moth was talking to an underage moderator. Plagued Moth was saying some out-of-pocket shit to her. And in my personal opinion, this is grooming behavior from Plagued Moth, because this is a lot of JK unless kind of shit where you bring up sexual topics with a minor, and just kind of see what they do, what they react, how they respond, so on and so forth. And I call that grooming behavior, and if somebody does that, I call them a groomer, because stopping doesn't mean you never did it. Some people think that you have to go all the way and try to actually, meet up with a kid or do something like that. I don't think so. I think that once you start grooming, you are a groomer. So Plagued Moth was engaging in groomer behavior with this underage moderator by way of bringing up sexual topics around them to kind of, float the topic. Again, even if it's in the form of a joke, you're not supposed to joke with kids about sex. Give me a fucking break. This is very obvious shit. But Plagued Moth had something very interesting to say about this screenshot. He says that the screenshot is fake. And the reason he knows it's fake? Well, he says that he and his wife Andrea went back through the Discord and looked on that day and saw that this message was not actually there and that it was faked. So let's listen to that right now.
And first and foremost, about the Discord minor situation and the screenshot involving the furry butt plug necrophilia scat fetish general chat message to Tori. Is this out of context? Can you explain this?
The fucked up part is, I would totally believe that was a shit post in my general chat, but it turns out the only thing that was said with like reactions and stuff by that individual on that day was something else.
So you said, but you're saying that you went back into the logs and you didn't find it?
Yeah, it turns out the only thing that was said on that date like that by them, and in like context of that, is the other screenshot, which you say you have, right?
Yeah, I do have it.
Thank you.
Now, as you may have already gathered, yeah, that's a lie. That's a lie, and we can prove it because less than 15 minutes later in the stream, Plagued Moth says this.
And why did you clear all of your general chat messages? Because that could be even more suspicious. You would find it even more surprising when you're saying you haven't seen proof, but you cleared all your general chat messages in your Discord. So why did you do that?
Well, plenty of Discords do that like every week, I know that much. Most other threads didn't get nuked in any capacity. General chat's been removed a few times based on raids, trolling. There's been people talking like wild shit when they join. Like, just things like that. Things that we did not want. Yeah, every few months we do it. It's not a set schedule, but that's just me. I'm the administrator of the Discord, and I decide when the fuck I want to do it, to be honest.
And conveniently, at the same time, something I've also been told is that didn't you clear your general chat at like the same time when that creepy reading started beefing with you and started pulling up screenshots from your chat?
No, I don't believe so.
You don't believe so? So you can go on record, and if anyone else finds proof showing otherwise, then you'd be able to retract that statement and admit that you were lying, I guess, or forgot.
Yeah, because I'm not sure what we cleared around that time. We might have. Because
you might have.
I probably would say we did.
So you did.
I'm sorry. It was like what, March of fucking last year. So my bad here. Yeah, we probably did. And it's because
okay, you go on record saying that you did. And what was the reason why?
Yeah, because I don't really remember. So I believe I did.
So, Plagued Moth. Plagued Moth fans who are hate watching this, I have a question for you. How would he look back in the chat and see that message was fake if the history of the chat was deleted and all of the messages were gone? If he purged the chat and cleared all the messages out of the chat, how did he go back and supposedly see that this message wasn't there and wasn't real? How did he go back and see that, as he claimed, the only message was the other one? He couldn't have done that because the chat was cleared. What the fuck? This is the sloppiest, stupidest fucking lie I think I've ever seen out of this fucking guy. Because Plagued Moth will make up some seriously stupid shit, but usually he makes up shit that you can't disprove using his own words within 15 fucking minutes of each other. And make no mistake, this message where he's talking to the moderator, this is from 2021. So is his claim about watching child porn. Both of those messages would be wiped, because he wiped the server when he started beefing with That Creepy Reading, which was years later. So both of those messages would be gone completely. So I ask once again, if you're a Plagued Moth fan who's hate watching, I know that you guys are out there. I know that you're sort of maybe coming around a little bit, and I do want to say there is no hard feelings. A lot of people, you'll see people in the comments who say, I'm sorry I was supporting Moth and saying that you were shit and blah, 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 blah. Whatever. People get lied to all the time. I'm not going to sit here and hold grudges about the fact that somebody believed their favorite content creator. But the important thing is that you do come around and you do acknowledge reality. Because if you're going to just continue to look past all of this shit, that's on you. Because you've been shown, time and again, with evidence that Plagued Moth is lying to you. In the last video on this channel, we looked at this message that Plagued Moth posted on Twitter. And we proved that this message is fake. Now, there's something else here that we need to address, and that's the fact that if Dylan Morgan, Plagued Moth, wrote this message himself, then he wrote this about his own underaged stepdaughter. Yeah, gross. I figured this was worth addressing in a separate video just because it beggars belief how disgusting somebody can be. Like, if Dylan wrote this about his own kid, or if Andrea wrote this about their own kid, fucking disgusting. Absolutely fucking disgusting. And we have more to lead into the fact that Dylan thinks of his kids this way. Unfortunately, because we have a clip of him talking about that same daughter, where he says this, again, about his own stepchild.
And my girls are pretty. My eldest is fucking stunning. She's got the darker skin from her Spanish heritage. It's like Andrea with beautiful Latina features. Like, think about that shit for a minute. Like, you know what I mean? I got beautiful kids. Like,
now, unlike the Discord message, that clip actually happened. That is real. Dylan Morgan saying that about one of his stepkids, and then making that face, like, absolutely gross. And, I've never been one of these people. There have been a lot of people who say, oh, get CPS involved. Oh, take his kids away. Oh, he has no point being around kids, blah, 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 blah. And I avoid that type of shit, because it's like, then you're going too far. As I've said in previous things, Plagued Moth may be an entirely different person in real life than his online persona, so I've always given him that benefit of the doubt to say, well, let's not talk about his family, let's not talk about his kids in that way. Despite the fact Dylan Morgan repeatedly lies and says that everybody is going after his family. But now I'm not sure, because it's fucking gross and disturbing. This is a tremendous fucking red flag. It brings to mind fucking Woody Allen dropping his wife and dating his own stepdaughter. Like, this is fucking crazy. Nobody should be thinking this way. No father should be thinking this way. No human being should be thinking this way about an underage person in general. There's so many levels to this. It goes so deep into how many ways this is fucking wrong. The combination of the clip and the message where Dylan apparently wrote up this weird fantasy about his own kid. Nobody needs to call CPS. Nobody should be calling CPS. This is not anything where I'm calling to action, let's do this, let's do that. But, my God, he's putting out so many red flags, I really can't blame anybody anymore. If there's one thing Plagued Moth loves to do, it's project his faults onto others. He calls other people pedophiles when he saves pictures of naked children. He calls other people homophobes and transphobes when he engages in that behavior himself. He calls other people doxers when he doxes them. He calls other people false reporters when he false reports other people. Basically, anything this man says, you know that he is guilty of it himself and is making it up about others. So, no surprise that when he makes up the fact that other people are racist, saying that basically everyone who doesn't like him or has any criticism for his work is a bigot. You know when he calls other people racist, of course he's going to have racist posts from his past, including calling people an N-word lover, including calling for the destruction of the Semitic roots of evil ruining our society? Like, what the fuck, dude?
So I get it. You moved on, so answer your phone. If not, I'm calling the police for your parents. I'm done playing games. You lied. You have a few minutes. You blank-loving whore. That is why you wouldn't see me all those times, and you bitched at me not to be paranoid. I've seen your shit, you fucking slut. I'll show everyone how much of a slut you are. You know how, so fuck you. You blown-out whore. You're rabbit too.
What?
You ugly fucking cunt, I stuck by your side, and you lied and cheated just like Samantha. Same old whore. I hope you and die for the shit you've done, whore. I can't believe I believed your lies again. You loser, bipolar cunt. Your shit family runs your life, slut. And I will always love you still, but fuck you for being such a lying coward. I'd tell you if I was going to cheat, liar. Enjoy your blown-out pussy and asshole, like every guy has a slut.
Plagued Moth will say, oh, I grew out of that. Did you really? Because you were supporting Burzum up until recently, and you fucking knew it was a neo-Nazi group. Because the one dude in it is a fucking neo-Nazi. You knew he was, you still didn't drop the band until people started calling you out for it. In fact, here's your Amazon wish list where you were asking people to buy you Burzum merchandise. This, despite the fact that Plagued Moth has said that the one Burzum hoodie he had was actually bootleg because he would never give any money to Burzum and he would never buy anything authentically. Here's your fucking wish list where you're asking people to give Burzum money by virtue of moving their merchandise. So this dude who makes Pride Month videos, this dude who says he's a voice for victims, this dude who says that he supports the oppressed, this dude who calls himself the liberal, woke gore YouTuber who is hated because the far right doesn't like him because of his gender fluidity and all of this shit, is a fucking closet racist. And if none of this bothers you, if you yourself are a racist, if you think that all of this is just, you know, right on the money, at least you should be annoyed by the fucking hypocrisy of this dude. Absolutely everything this guy accuses other people of doing is provably what he has been doing. It is absurd. Now these images come from court filings. That's why they're such shit, because people, you know, doing the court filing don't care about whether or not you at home get a crisp, clean image. They're just, you know, making records of shit. So a lot of this stuff is printed out, scanned and rescanned by boomers within the legal system, unfortunately. And I want to point out that Plagued Moth is going to say that these are faked, and say, you know, why is it black and white? Why does it look so degraded? And the dumb fucking thing is, if somebody was going to fake a screenshot, they would fake a nice, crisp, clean image. They would just use inspect element to fake something. Just like when Plagued Moth faked this screenshot that has a ton of fucking problems with it. Why would you ever fake something by making it look like a goddamn shitty photocopy? Now, not only do we have abject racism from Dylan Morgan, Plagued Moth here, an abject racist and anti-Semite, but we also have him, you know, calling people whores, you know, different things like that, misogyny, degrading to, you know, people who are, I guess, promiscuous in his eyes. A big supporter of sex workers, by the way. Plagued Moth supports sex workers in so much as he can get free nudes from them. Or in the case of this one person who was fundraising for him, he can use them for money, which is sort of like digital pimping, in a way. Can we coin a new phrase? I know that digital blackface didn't catch on very well. Can we coin the term digital pimping for Plagued Moth right now? But yeah, none of this is any fucking surprise to anybody involved. As it turns out, the person who has faked a bunch of allegations against other people is guilty of literally everything he has accused them of. Now, Plagued Moth would say, probably, oh, that was in my past. I grew past that. I was only 18, 19, 20 at the time. I grew out of that. But hey, wait a minute, Plagued Moth. It seems to me that that creepy reading was in that debate where he was debating on the side of drawn images of Lolicon or whatever the fuck, and he was saying, you know, what harm does it do because they're just images and not real, you know, children? And then he changed his position after that debate and said, oh wait, no, you're right, yeah, this is actually fucked. It seems to me that that creepy reading, his whole thing was that he said it was a position he held that he no longer held, that he grew out of it, that he got past it, that he listened to other people's opinions and realized that they were right. Now, is that the defense that you're going to use, Plagued Moth? About your old racist, anti-Semitic posts? About your misogynistic, hateful posts where you wished for a baby to die? Is that what you're going to say? You grew out of it? Because you're not allowed to use that defense anymore, you little bitch, because you said nobody else can. Dylan Morgan is a self-admitted sociopath. No, wait a minute. Now, this isn't one of those videos where I'm going to be bringing on experts and, you know, going to Wikipedia to try to say, you know, here are the signs of a sociopath, and here's how we know that Plagued Moth is No, he actually just said it himself. You may remember that a few videos back I showed some messages from Facebook that were written by Dylan Morgan, aka Plagued Moth, in which he said some really wild shit. Now, those images were scans and printouts from various court filings. Now, I read out the N-word message, but I didn't get into the other messages that you may have seen on your screen. So let's do that right now and see how Dylan Morgan is a self-admitted sociopath. Here we go right away off the bat. From Dylan Morgan, July 4th, 2013.
I'd feel no remorse for killing someone. In fact, I'd get off on it.
Wait.
I'd feel no remorse for killing someone. In fact, I'd get off on it. I hate almost everyone, and especially those who lie to me. I'm not upset, just annoyed by the daily rabble of idiots that surrounds me by force. I'd like to nail you to a cross and force you to watch direct TV commercials.
See, now, at the end there, you know, he thought better of it, so he added the little joke about direct TV commercials, because then, hey, it's not a real threat, it's a joke. And then we have a little message after that.
Gonna be a good night. Fuck my enemies.
Now, of course, you know, that doesn't necessarily mean he's a total scumbag, murderous, antisocial, loser, idiot, misanthropic loner who wants to pretend that everyone is scared of him and that's why they don't want to be around him, as opposed to his horrible personality. I forget where I was going with that. But anyway, here's another message from him.
I hope your retard whore girlfriend's baby
Blank.
swallows broken glass and someone shoots you through your mediocre drive-thru job, you emo waste of fucking life.
And then somebody who replied here is actually the voice of reason. This is a good person here. Dylan, I think you're cool, but the kid part is going too far. This is a cool person. This person deserves to be lauded and put up on our shoulders and paraded around town as the only good person in this scenario on this Facebook page. And of course we know that Dylan and Andrea, his wife, are a perfect couple because we have this post that I've read before from Andrea on Facebook, which just so happens to be in the evidence here, where she says,
I am making this post public so that the talentless, fat-headed reject and his ugly whore can...
what is it with you two and whores? What's wrong with whores? God damn, I thought you guys supported sex workers. What the fuck? So there you have it, Dylan Morgan, Plagued Moth, self-admitted sociopath. I'd feel no remorse for killing somebody. Easy! One and done. We don't need a 2-hour video to fucking get to the point. Hey guys, you want a quick video? Well, here's a really quick video for you. You remember when I said that Plagued Moth would look at his old use of the N-word and all of his misogynistic posting and just say, oh, I grew out of that. And I pointed out how that was hypocritical because he's talked about other people and their past posts, and they've said that they grew out of it, and he said, oh no, you didn't, you can't grow out of that. Well, Plagued Moth has done exactly what I thought, and here's the clip.
In retrospect, I mean, I was in that time period of like the Facebook era, I was more misogynistic. I was going through so much because of like the fucking chick who groomed me and shit, and abused me. I was very misogynistic, quite publicly. That's something I'm surprised hasn't come up ever. And it's just like, okay, like, oh, women are whores, and you just grow up. I'm almost 30 years old. Like, what do you?
Yep, his excuse is exactly what I said it would be. That was a long time on Facebook, and I was angry at the time, and I grew out of it, and blah, blah, blah. So it's exactly what I said he would do, and yet another sign of hypocrisy from the living contradiction himself. One of the very few things that Plagued Moth has going for him at this point is that he can effectively lie to and manipulate people who are stupid or young. Basically, that's the last vestige of what he has in his arsenal in order to try to harm others while obscuring facts about himself. Now, this may sound like I'm just coming out of nowhere with this. You know, oh, Plagued Moth, you know, he's a big old liar. You just trust me, bro. But, yeah, we actually have a clip of Plagued Moth admitting to the fact that he's very good at lying and bragging about how convincing he can be when lying to and scamming others.
So I would scam people out of Microsoft points on Xbox because I was an asshole. And I would buy me and my cousin, my ex-girlfriend, and my friends shit on there and things like that by telling people I'm going to get them in a 10th prestige lobby. And I'm very convincing. And what I would do is I would commonly switch my name immediately so I wouldn't get banned and things like that. So it would come at a small price.
Now granted, this was in the past, and of course he's changed and would never do such a thing except for the fact he was scamming charity subreddits in, like, the 2020s. But yeah, that was a long time ago. But, man, he sure is proud of the fact that he is convincing.
And I'm very convincing.
Yes, I mean, dude's proud of it. Dude's openly proud of the fact that he lies to others and scams people. And, you know, he's just, like, proud of this idea that he's so convincing, he can convince you of whatever he feels like. And the question at this point becomes, when exactly will the final holdouts supporting Plagued Moth realize that he is doing this to them? How much more do they need to be shown? Now, granted, a good number of these people actually aren't looking into anything at all. They're just taking his word for it. But the people who are actually looking into things, or the people who can't avoid being told over and over again what's going on, you gotta wonder, what exactly are you getting out of this? Someone is openly admitting that they just love to lie, and that they're very convincing at it, and they're very good at lying, and they, you know, can trick people into things and scam them. And yet you're there giving this dude money for things that he said that he can pay for, but doesn't want to. And you're willing to attack other people on his behalf, even though he is provably guilty of everything he's made up about others. Forget about trust me, bro. I think we're dealing with trust Moth, bro. But yeah, if you look into other things that Moth has done, he and his wife Andrea both were scamming subreddits. Moth has openly talked about shoplifting and stealing. Granted, he says it was necessary to keep his family afloat. But given the fact that he uses his family for everything, like just uses them like meat shields in every situation, I don't know how much we can trust the fact that he actually needed to rob people of products in order to provide for his family. Like, he uses his family as an excuse for everything. The dude evaded a grand theft warrant. The dude was stalking his ex and threatening to kill her. This is somebody who just thinks he can get away with anything, and so he does anything he wants. I mean, he's watched child pornography at least 5 times. And he comes out and says, oh, it was an accident. All 5 times. This is a dude who openly says, I can be very convincing when talking about scamming and lying to others. I guess there are just some people out there whose eyes cannot be opened. Alright, I want you to picture this. You're Plagued Moth. No, put down the... Oh, thank God that wasn't loaded. You're not really Plagued Moth. You're not really Plagued Moth. Relax. Oh, man. That was close. Okay. Just imagine that you're Plagued Moth, okay? Your career is in a downward spiral. You're moving out of your house. You're in ruins Your reputation is gone. You've been outed for being a habitual liar. You've been outed for faking evidence against other people to try to cause them harm. You've been outed for watching CP multiple times. What else is there left for you to do? That's right. Claim that everything is a satanic plot against you orchestrated by the powers that be at YouTube.
The thing with him is that I antagonized him, and he linked up with more people. He was already friends with that creepy reading. He actually scripted quite a few of his videos. So it's so fucking creepy how a lot of this was already interconnected. And it's like I didn't see how many legs were on the centipede, so to speak. I am upset. I mean, I have every right to be, and I'm gonna bitch about it because it's a very, very, very upsetting scenario. But it's okay. It will be okay at least. It's not okay yet. I never would have thought, though, that... Well, actually, I would have thought. That makes sense. It's like the fucking government. The government's evil, satanic pedophile rings. You fight against them, and they'll try to get you. You talk about, you poke enough people in the YouTube Boys Club, you know, they start to get riled up with their buddies, and problems get caused.
I bet you thought I was joking. I bet you thought I was kidding around, telling a little bit of a joke. But no, Plagued Moth's new thing now is to move on to telling his audience that there is a group of YouTubers, a cabal of YouTubers at the very top, and when you poke that hornet's nest, those satanic, pedophile, baby-eater, blood drinkers come right after you and start trying to ruin your life. That is what he is trying to sell his audience now. Every step of the way, it's fucking amazing how low he goes and how insane his claims become. And the problem with this is a lot of his people are going to believe this, and a lot of his people are going to send him money to try to help him with this made-up thing that he himself caused. And a lot of them are going to send him items and all different things to try to help him along, when really, as we showed in a previous video, he could pay his rent, he just chose not to. All these different things where he puts himself into trouble, and he puts himself into harm's way, and he puts his family in harm's way. Big surprise there. The guy who keeps bringing his family into arguments is putting them in harm's way. Yeah, amazing. And now that we know that Dylan Morgan, Plagued Moth, is making the claim that a satanic, evil, baby-killing YouTube cult is after him, a group of people who, by the way, mostly met each other in the first place just because he was attacking all of us, he says that that evil, murderous cult is after him. So I guess that when he has brought up his family constantly, when nobody else has, and he has used them as a human shield, he's saying that he put his family in the way of danger from a murderous cult? How on earth can this get any more pathetic?
I wish he would unblock me.
Oh, yeah, that's definitely more pathetic. Hey guys, do you remember that video I made recently where I reviewed Plagued Moth's rape? Me neither, because it didn't fucking happen. And yet here's Plagued Moth talking to his audience, describing what my videos have been like during Plagued Month.
Just report Slimebeast videos. I mean, if you want to help me in dealing with that kind of shit on the PR end of it, it's not inappropriate for me to ask, especially that one video. There's a video Slimebeast made where it's called Victimizer or something. He rape reviews my CSA and to deny my CSA and tell me it never happened based off of an alleged Reddit post from an account that he can't even prove is me.
I always got talent.
So that's disgusting to me. But again, to properly report a YouTube video, you have to click the stupid fucking thing and report it that way.
Yeah, that's right. The old dill hole can't seem to stop lying to his audience, even in times of extreme strife caused by himself because he wouldn't stop lying. I mean, if this dude hadn't been such a massive piece of shit, some of us probably would have kicked in money to save his house. But as it stands, nobody wants to touch the fucking guy. And it's his rampant lies, mixed with his sordid and suspicious past of pedophilic-related activity. So just to prove that this guy is lying to his audience yet again, nothing new here, but, you know, it's Plagued Month, so we're highlighting everything. I want to make a deal with you. If you can go to that video, linked in the description below, and find a timestamp where I said anything about denying Plagued Moth was assaulted, come back here, post that timestamp in the comments below, and you win $1 million.
I also found out that he accused Nick Spheres of rape, and then I got him to admit it recently, that it was a lie.
By the way, let's throw $2 million in the pot here. If you can go to Plagued Moth's stream and find a timestamp where I supposedly admitted to lying about Nick Spheres, bring that timestamp back here, post it in the comments below, and you get $1 million for that too. That's right, $2 million up for grabs in this video. Welcome to the Plagued Moth $1 Million Challenge. So there you have it. I just felt that that would be an interesting thing to prove that this guy is a super, super massive fucking liar who will lie about anything at the drop of a hat, no matter how big or how small. If you asked him whether the Earth was round or flat, he would look you dead on, straight in the eyes, and immediately say, "Earth? What Earth?" So as you no doubt know by now, Plagued Moth has been trying to fundraise some money to save his house, to save himself from eviction. Now this is a very unfortunate circumstance, mainly for his family, not for him, because fuck him. But, you know, his family doesn't deserve that type of thing, and everybody has been saying his family doesn't deserve anything bad out of this, even though he lies and says that everyone else is attacking his family. But Plagued Moth has been shamelessly e-begging day after day after day after day with live streams, crying on stream, talking about how, you know, his family doesn't deserve this, and, you know, all different things like that, to try to drum up donations. Now, he and his wife have a GoFundMe set up. This is the same GoFundMe that they set up when they were lying about that creepy reading and myself going after them. So they've changed the description of it, but it's the same GoFundMe that was set up before. Now, it should come as a surprise to nobody that Plagued Moth actually has had the money to pay his rent. He's just choosing not to. Oh, Slimebeast, how could you possibly know that? That's not something that you... Oh, how do you think I know it? He said it on stream.
At least, you know, it's like we didn't know exactly what to do here, because it's like, okay, we can hope and try to bust our ass to save this place, but then we really are sitting and talking about it, and it's like, is this going to be able to, we were going to be able to maintain this too? It's like, yeah, on paper, but it's like, I don't want to have every last penny going just to rent, and so I've been hoarding the money instead of just, I'm not just going to pay it into that. I would rather owe a huge lump sum and make sure that my family has shelter. Okay? Maybe that's a dumb decision. I don't fucking know, but I know one thing. They're gonna evict if they're gonna evict, with or without that money in their pocket. And if they're not gonna take, I can't give every last dime. So I have money in the bank that is supposed to go towards that.
That's right. The dude directly told his audience that he had enough money to pay his rent, but he's choosing not to because he wants to put it toward a different place to live when he gets evicted. But it's like you wouldn't have gotten evicted if you had paid the rent, and it's just very odd. It's circular logic, and it doesn't make any sense, but that is typical of Plagued Moth and what he does. He'll say things that make absolutely no sense, and he'll talk in circles, hoping that his audience doesn't, you know, navigate that maze and can't get away from his influence. So Plagued Moth has had the money to pay his rent. Even if he didn't have the total amount by now, he's like 4 months behind or something, but if he had paid in the beginning, he wouldn't be 4 months behind. He'd be 3 months behind, 2 months behind, 1 month behind, or maybe not behind at all, depending on, you know, how much he has saved up. By the way, we can go back in Plagued Moth's history on his old Reddit account, and we can see him talking about withholding rent in the past. That's right, he has a history of withholding rent. Now, if we look back at this thread, the original post has been deleted by Dylan Morgan to hide what was in it. But in this thread, he was asking about how to file for inhabitability. In other words, you know, his apartment, his condo, his duplex, his house, whatever the fuck he's renting. So he wanted to legally, file for that. I think it's because one of his neighbors was smoking, but yeah. So this original post is gone, but the replies are still there. And in the replies, you can see Dylan Morgan, Plagued Moth, saying, "I'm not trying to withhold rent. What are you talking about? I would never withhold rent. I'm not trying to do that." But there's a response where another user says, "Dude, literally in this thread, you're trying to not pay rent. Like literally. What are you talking about?" So not only are there serious red flags that Plagued Moth is scamming his audience, making up this story of eviction, because as we know, nobody called his work. He has been lying about that, and he was not fired for that reason. It's possible he wasn't fired at all. It's possible he was fired for something else. It's possible he quit. Who knows? But the thing is, he wants to downsize his living space. He wants to move to somewhere more affordable. And he has stopped paying his rent. In his own words, he just decided to stop paying his rent because he had the money and is now trying to downsize to somewhere smaller. And I guess by framing that as an eviction, he thinks, he can scam a few extra dollars off of people. I don't know. It just is a shame that this guy keeps rolling with this shit. You would think after being caught time and time and time again, you would think after openly admitting in his own words that he's been lying about things, that he would just have the sense, the common decency to stop, bullshitting and e-begging fraudulently. But I guess not. So I guess we'll see him in about a month or two when, I don't know, all of his enemies come together and break his water heater, and he has to buy a new one. I don't know. Guys, wake up! The newest faked image from Plagued Moth just dropped. That's right. Plagued Moth dropped another quote-unquote leaked message from the quote-unquote private Discord that quote-unquote his conspiring cabal of enemies run. And yeah, it's just as stupid as the previous one we saw. In a previous video I showed you a fake-ass screenshot that he made up. And I guess this video is just part 2 of that because he did the same exact thing here. You can even see the same black square, the mystery square, that he cannot explain as to why the fuck it would be there. That doesn't exist on fucking Discord. What the hell are you talking about? What is wrong with your brain, Plagued Moth? Like, what is the major problem here? So on the surface, there are a couple things that prove this isn't real, but then we're going to get into a couple things that are a little bit more subtle that will show exactly why this is completely fake. So first of all, wrong profile picture for me again. That is not my Discord avatar. That is an avatar I put up on Twitter for like maybe 4 to 5 days. I've already changed it like before this came out and had a different one before that. I don't change my Discord avatar, which has been the same for a long fucking time, and is not that. You can fucking go ask anybody in my Discord, go ask anybody who talks to me, go ask anybody who contacts me on Discord at all, and you can see it's not this one, which was a shit post for like a couple days. So what happened was the person who made this, Plagued Moth likely, downloaded my avatar off of Twitter and used that as a Discord avatar when making up this screenshot. Very stupid mistake, but then again, what do you expect from stupid people? Second, another surface level thing that proves this is not real is Dilmo is spelled wrong. D-I-L-L-M-O is what I call Dylan Morgan, and I even purchased Dilmo.com to link to the playlist of videos exposing him. So why would I misspell a word? Again, just some surface level shit that gives you clues that should lead you down the path to realizing this is fucking made up. Third surface level thing, it says that Plagued Moth's wife, Andrea, is attractive, which nobody would say except for Plagued Moth and Andrea. So those are your surface level clues. First of all, wrong avatar. Second, mystery black square. Yet again, the guy can't get away from that. Third, misspelling a word that I created. Fourth, saying that his wife is attractive. Now we're going to go a step further here. Plagued Moth released a previous screenshot that he made up that was supposedly from this private Discord. If Plagued Moth was leaking real messages, why would we still be talking on that same fucking Discord saying shit like this? Like, wouldn't the Discord be deleted, or locked, or people kicked out? Or would we not at least not be saying very obvious, badly written movie villain dialogue? Give me a fucking break, dude. But we're going to go a bit further and we're going to prove absolutely that this is completely fake. So, You see that little icon next to the fake Slimebeast? That little green crown? That's not what the crown looks like on Discord. When someone is a server owner, they have a little yellow crown with a transparent background. Now, forgive me if I'm wrong, but I don't think that other versions of Discord for like mobile or anything like that completely change their icon set. I could be wrong, but don't worry about that because that crown right there, that's a Hallmark logo from the Hallmark Greeting Card Company. That's right, let's look at the two of them together on screen right now. 2 points on the left, 2 points on the right, a tall point in the middle, green background. The person who made this just Googled images of a crown and then picked this out and used it as a fake Discord badge. I mean, fucking come on, dude. You're gonna use a Hallmark logo as a fucking Discord badge? Are you brain dead? Now, let's say you're someone who wants to make a fake Discord message, like Plagued Moth does. What would be your first step? Oh, let's Google fake Discord message maker. Okay, here's some results. Let's go to the very first one that exists. Alright, so let's upload a profile picture. Now, this isn't going to be cropped exactly like the one on my Twitter profile was, because I changed profiles, so I can't exactly download, you know, the old avatar to get the exact crop, but you get the idea. Now we're just going to put in King Slime, and for the badge, let's put in the Hallmark logo. And for time, wait a minute. 9:16 p.m. is the default time on this? Wait a minute. Oh, hold on. Isn't that the same exact time of the fake fucking image that Plagued Moth put together? Oh yeah, that's right. The fake image that Plagued Moth made takes place at 9:16 p.m. The exact time on the fake Discord image maker. But let's change this date to, what was it, 4:15? And what do we want to say here? Hello, I am Slimebeast. I am a movie villain, apparently. Here is a bunch of bullshit that sounds really bad. Woo. And yeah, there we go. Now let's just generate that image. Look at that. It's the exact fucking thing that this dumb fuck put together. Except, as I said, for the avatar cropping, because I can't, you know, download an avatar I no longer use on Twitter. But yeah, there you go. He used this exact program, this exact website. As you can see, 9:16 p.m. Here's the fucking Hallmark logo, because he didn't know how to put a Discord crown on there. So we have well and truly proven that Dylan Morgan faked this fucking screenshot. You cannot invent a fictional character more brain dead than Dylan Morgan, who has been caught lying and faking evidence yet again. Now, this also gives us some insight into what exactly that black square is. Remember the mystery black square? If we go to the badges here and we just upload a blank black square, there we go. That's what it was all this time. Plagued Moth didn't know what to put for the badge, so he just uploaded a fucking black image. And that's what that is, right there, is Plagued Moth uploading a black image because he didn't know what to put for the fucking icon next to the name. Oh, man. It feels so good to finally go up against somebody who is so easy to take down. Plagued Moth filed a tremendous amount of false DMCAs, false privacy strikes, false reports on videos throughout the past year, probably longer. But throughout the past year, he's filed hundreds of these, and I'm not fucking joking, because he has filed at least 20 on me alone, and then you have to account for all of the other people that he's been beefing with. So this dude has filed at least 1 to 200 strikes of DMCA strikes, privacy strikes, harassment complaints, all these other false things that have been overturned by YouTube time and time and time again. He's filed them on Twitter as well. In fact, he recently was gloating on Twitter because he filed a false report saying that a screen cap from one of his streams was private information, was a private photograph of him. So he lied to Twitter, filed another false strike, And he was bragging about that on his fucking account. This guy is a piece of shit to the highest order. This is somebody who does not belong on YouTube in any regard because he is just out here constantly trying to fuck over everybody else's channels for having any criticism against him. Not only that, but he went on Turkey Tom's stream, and Turkey Tom told him you can't file strikes like that, and he was like, oh, my bad, I didn't know. And then he went on Lyrics' stream, and Lyrics again told him you can't file those, and Plagued Moth said, my bad, I didn't know. And then his wife said, oh, actually it was me, I did it. And then said you can't do that, and she was like, I was just trying to see if I could get something past the system, and it was just fucking ridiculous. Over and over again, this guy has been told live in front of fucking large audiences that he's not supposed to do this shit, and every time he said, oh, I didn't realize. So you would think, oh, the dude's been publicly outed doing this, he's been on streams talking about it, he's been told he can't do this, he's been told it not only is against YouTube's terms of service, but filing a DMCA is actually fraud. You would think he's learned his lesson and doesn't do it anymore, except you'd be wrong, because not only does he keep doing it without fail, not even slowing down, but he's also now trying to tell his audience to do it as well. He's trying to instruct his audience as to how to file false complaints in order to try to brigade people.
And I do want to encourage people now from here on to just report his videos for bullying and harassment, because that's what they are. I realize that he's just trying to drown out my channel in the algorithm and to manipulate people into not believing the shit he's been exposed for. At this rate, too, like, I do encourage it. I highly encourage, you know, the removal of his content. It's not good for anybody. When you go onto a computer, or not mobile YouTube, so to speak, don't call them the app, you have to click the video and go to report, and then it will start at the timestamp that you've clicked report on. And it will ask, like, a large, I think you get 2,000 characters or something to explain what the fuck's going on in that video.
This is the most blatant shit you could ever fucking do on this platform, and I am surprised as fuck that this guy has gone this far with his bullshit. Like, this is way beyond pathetic. This is like something that I would never have expected any content creator on YouTube to do, no matter how fundamentally brain damaged and inbred they were. And yet here's Plagued Moth dropping the bar even lower. Speaking of dropping the bar, the dude belongs in jail at this point, because literally filing false DMCAs knowingly is fucking fraud. And I don't know what this dude expects, because when he instructs his entire audience to go file false reports, does he not realize that at some point someone is going to take him up on that and be like, okay buddy, if you're going to do that, then I'm going to do that too. And boom, they're going to encourage their group of people to file a bunch of false reports on him. And it just is fucking sick, and it's sad, because this dude legitimately is breaking terms of service. He legitimately is putting audio of murders, tortures, assaults in his videos, which is against terms of service. I mean, that exact rule got Turkey Tom struck recently. They took down his Too Mad video because he had audio, supposedly, of an assault, which it didn't. But Plagued Moth is out here actually doing that, and YouTube just sits in their own feces and blows bubbles with their snot. I think YouTube headquarters has to be like a daycare positioned directly over like a natural gas vent, because the amount of brain power coming out of that building couldn't toast a single piece of bread on one side. Speaking of violations of terms of service, the dude is out here literally putting gore in the thumbnails of his videos. The thumbnails. The first thing you fucking see. Forget about age restricting your content. The thumbnail itself is already showing gore to anybody who looks it up, including fucking kids, when it comes up in their recommended videos or wherever else. So this dude is out here violating terms of service left and right, wantonly, willingly, repeatedly, and he has the fucking nerve to file a horde of false reports against other people and to encourage his audience to continue to do the same. Fuck it. Everybody out there,
when you go onto a computer, or not mobile YouTube, so to speak, don't call them the app, you have to click the video and go to report, and then it will start at the timestamp that you've clicked report on. And it will ask, like, a large, I think you get 2,000 characters or something to explain what the fuck's going on in that video.
Alright, let's see. What is the title of this video? Plagued Moth, Survivor, Victimizer. So is that a band he's starting? Oh no, wait, this is about Oh, right, of course. This is about the fact that Plagued Moth says he's a voice for victims, actually says that his entire channel, the basis for his channel, in its entirety, is to get out the voices of victims. Really, the guy who reacts to people being murdered with laughter and jokes, and at their expense, by the way, he claims that he's doing it to help victims. Then why would it be that you make fun of Junko Furuta, who pretty much is only known for being the victim of a horrible, horrible murder and rape? Like, this is somebody who went through absolute fucking hell, and you make, jokes about her and you make fun of what happened to her. That doesn't seem like you're a voice of victims. It seems like you just victimize people all over again. And when you ask Plagued Moth about why he does this, he'll go, boo-hoo, cry about it, cope, they're dead, they don't care, who cares, ha ha ha, we. That doesn't sound like somebody who cares very much about victims, which, again, is what Plagued Moth said about himself. Make no mistake, this is no pearl-clutching, this is no moral grandstanding. This is just pointing out the hypocrisy of a dipshit. Now, what I really want to address here is the fact that Plagued Moth is actively undermining a group of survivors of sexual assault, and he is calling them liars. Why? Because he doesn't like me. A while back I had a bit of a disagreement with Nick Spheres, a horror YouTuber. After I started beefing with Nick Spheres, someone came forward with a document, a Google Doc, related to sexual abuse that Nick Spheres had allegedly perpetrated against some of her exes. Yeah. There were multiple posts about this, and Nick Spheres even acknowledged the fact that these people actually did know her and that they were actually connected. These aren't just random people who appeared out of nowhere. Now, when I was given this information, I did what I do whenever I'm given information like this, and I signal boosted it. I said, here's some information from people who claim that they're victims of something. I, want people to be able to get their voice out, to get their word out, because unlike Plagued Moth, I actually would like to help victims. I don't tell people to kill themselves like Plagued Moth does, while putting up a suicide hotline number in my description as if it whitewashes away, legitimately telling people to die. Now, this recently came to a head with Plagued Moth lying, yet again for the 5 millionth fucking time, saying that he had an audio recording of me, saying that I made up the allegations against Nick Spheres, which doesn't make any fucking sense because they originally came from someone else anyway. Let's look at that clip right now where Plagued Moth just wholesale lies to his audience because he thinks they're a bunch of dipshits.
He goes on to accuse them of course, grooming, rape, like straight up rape, and a bunch of other things based on word of mouth. No actual evidence provided, just he says that he did this, she did this. It's fucking... It's bad. I want to play that proof real quick. I got actually... Oh, that's it. They covered your content and monetized it, and the chat logs actually said that they don't have a right to monetize your content. They told you fuck you, and you immediately started saying that they're a rapist and groomer. Why did you do that?
Because somebody contacted me because I was fighting with Nick Spheres.
That we're not done. There's still about 30 more seconds of clip. I'm just saying, what the fuck? So right there, he already admitted to false rape allegations.
So did you notice what's not in that clip that he played? If you said that I never said anything about lying about the allegations, then you'd be correct. Plagued Moth just made up something that isn't in the clip he played. Then he played the clip and once again said some made-up thing was in there. It's fucking abysmal. And all of this just to try to deny the claims of alleged victims, simply to try to win an internet argument. He has decided to say that these people are lying about sexual assault. What the fuck, Moth? Denying somebody's story just because you don't like them. How would you like if somebody did that to you, Moth? You are, by your own words, a victim of all these things, and you say that is why you have a deep understanding of these issues, and you support these people, and you're such a powerful voice for them on this platform. I mean, Moth, if you've been in that position, why the absolute fuck are you trying to undermine other survivors? Why are you trying to say that people are lying and throwing them under the bus just to try to get points against me in an internet argument? That is foul, Plagued Moth. That is really fucking foul. Especially when you will use your history as a shield to deflect criticism in situations where it is not relevant to the conversation. But then you will deny other people when they come forward and they take that bold step to be vulnerable and say that something horrible happened to them? It gets worse and worse, folks. By the way, just to shit on Plagued Moth a little bit more, let's go back and listen to what I actually said in the video where I was talking about the allegations of Nick's fears. Everybody ready? Alright, let's go. I'm not saying that all of this is legitimate. I'm not saying that all of this is true. I'm not saying I support one side or the other. I'm asking, why does this always fucking happen? I'm not saying that all of this is legitimate. I'm not saying that all of this is true. I'm not saying I support one side or the other. Oh, Plagued Moth is attacking my family! That's right, Plagued Moth says that when people report his YouTube channel, his Kick channel, his Twitch channel, his Twitter accounts, his TikTok accounts, his GoFundMes, his whatever the fuck, whenever somebody reports that for whatever given reason, valid or not, I have no fucking idea, he says that people are attacking his family. So, when Plagued Moth openly tells his audience to report my GoFundMe for the lawsuit that I was filing against him, I guess he's attacking my family. Because as I said directly in the video announcing the GoFundMe campaign, I have enough money to sue Plagued Moth. I was open about that in the video, and I said, I have the money to do it, but I would like to be able to have that money reserved because I do have familial issues that I may need to take care of in the future, and that may actually drain the entire bank account. So I asked for some assistance if anybody wanted to chip in, toward suing Plagued Moth as a sort of unforeseen expense. And while it is no surprise that Plagued Moth, Dylan Morgan, would of course be attacking my family, because after all he's wished them dead, and, talked about how much he's going to be happy and celebrate when they die, all different things like that, has made sexual assault comments about my family. Basically, any depraved thing you can think of, this motherfucker has sunk that low and deeper. So yeah, it should come as no surprise that someone who has done all that would also, just wantonly be quote-unquote attacking my family, and engaging in that sort of hypocrisy, on top of everything else. So yeah, let's look at him talking about reporting my GoFundMe as a scam for absolutely no fucking reason, just because he feels like inciting his audience to go after somebody he doesn't like.
You can report his GoFundMe for scam. For scamming and deceptive practices. And when you do, it lets you type out why. Just type out why. Same thing with his videos, too. If you're tired of seeing them, go in there and report them. If you go onto a computer and report them, you can add the timestamps of offending things and type in where the problems and what they are. YouTube apparently takes that seriously. Tag team YouTube at Twitter. I mean, I don't really care. I am totally encouraging you to do that.
Now, I would like to address the fact that Plagued Moth also follows this by saying that I have scammed people through GoFundMe in the past. Again, he's projecting on this because he has been outed along with his wife. They've been outed scamming charity subreddits, and, of course they're e-begging all the fucking time for things that seem a little bit embellished to some of, his viewers and, of course, people who don't like him. So let's look at what he says about me personally, and let's debunk his bullshit yet again, just for the fun of it, to fill out the rest of this video.
He has had a lot of give me money grifts, and he must have called me an e-beggar. The dude e-begged with a GoFundMe to publish on Amazon for free.
Well, first of all, Plagued Moth, it was on Kickstarter, not GoFundMe. Secondly, the funding was to pay the artist. What's that? Slimebeast? The king the absolute reigning, unchallenged king of AI thumbnails, was paying an artist to illustrate a book? Yeah, because that's how that works. AI for shit posting that I was never going to hire anybody for. Actual artist hired for paying jobs. But yeah, I'm going to link the Kickstarter page below so you guys can see exactly what this was for. Plagued Moth is lying yet again, saying, oh, he was fundraising for the fees to publish on Amazon, but Amazon has no fees. And it just is amazing seeing what his drug and alcohol-rattled brain will come up with, because the dude's been on a bender, freaking the fuck out, for a couple weeks now. And what comes out of his mouth is pure fucking gold. Just inventing the idea wholesale out of nothing, saying Slimebeast was raising funds for Amazon's fees, but Amazon doesn't have fees, when the Kickstarter literally says what every dime is fucking going toward. Meanwhile, this motherfucker is out scamming his audience, setting up GoFundMes for money he doesn't need because he himself has said, well, on paper I could afford my rent, but I don't really want to pay it because I want to downsize. It should be no surprise to anyone at this point that he is just projecting on every single thing he accuses someone else of doing. But I'm going to continue making these videos anyway because they're sort of archival in nature. They're sort of just put out here for you guys to see what this dumb motherfucker is doing, and I guess maybe get a little laugh at him as well. So today is the day when Plagued Moth makes his plagued move out of his plagued house to a different plagued house that he wanted to downsize to, so he stopped paying his rent. Today also happens to be the day that apparently 19 videos disappeared from Plagued Moth's channel. This motherfucker's gonna make me go back and check archived pages and count the number of videos that got removed, isn't he? There's no way it's fucking 19. This guy's so full of fucking shit. But yeah, Plagued Moth claims that a bunch of videos were removed from his channel. A bunch of videos were deleted, including private ones that were subscriber only. I don't think Plagued Moth thought that lie through, because he would have a smoking gun if that were the case. But as it stands, he doesn't, because it ain't true. But yeah, he claims 19 whole videos are gone from his channel. And he says that a bunch of these are about trans issues, trying to, again, paint me as a transphobe because Nick Spheres told him to. Does anyone out there remember a bunch of videos Plagued Moth had up about trans issues? Because I fucking don't. But just trust Moth, bro. But yeah, in actuality, what's happening here is Plagued Moth is likely being taken down for policy violations. Now, a while back, he went absolutely plumb nutty. He was going cocoa nutty on his live streams, calling for people to be killed, calling for me to be killed, all these different things like that. And he thought privating in the streams would protect him. Like, you know, I can say that somebody should be murdered, and then I'll private the stream so that it can't be seen. And it's like, bitch, YouTube is hosting it. YouTube can see it, whether it's privated or not. So if somebody watching your stream says, gee, I don't like that Plagued Moth said that TCR should be shot, or, you know, whatever the fuck he says, and they report that, YouTube can still go and look and confirm that you did it. You dumb fuck. I would venture to guess, even if you deleted your own streams, like didn't just private them but deleted them, I would guess that YouTube still has a copy and still could go back and look and see what you said. The man just has no functioning brain. But either way, we know that Plagued Moth is a huge violator of the terms of service on the site, constantly filing false reports, constantly filing false privacy complaints, false DMCAs. He's filed probably around 50 of these fucking things, just, you know, on me and TCR and Lazy Bedhead and Spindling. Oh, and Turkey Tom, before I forget. And the dude makes videos with thumbnails that have corpses and, you know, active scenes of gore in them, so there has never been more of a reason to report something. We are entering the end of Plagued Month. We only have a few days left. That means only a few videos left. So I don't know if I'm going to necessarily have the time to go and look through a bunch of archived pages and take note of what has or has not been removed from his channel. So it's just a shame that we'll never actually know how many videos were deleted off of Plagued Moth's channel. Oh wait, actually it tells you on the site. So he has 252 videos up now, and on the 3rd of April he had 268. So that means 16 videos are gone. Oh man, 16 is like a large enough number. Why did he have to say it was 19? I mean, that's just so fucking petty to change it from 16 to 19 when it's not much of a fucking difference. Why? Do you just, are you compelled to lie? No matter what the scenario is, you have to lie? By the way, One of those videos was, I may have to leave for a while, things have gotten bad, or whatever the fuck. He took this down himself a long time back, like maybe, 3, 4, or 5 weeks back. So it's even one less than that. So it's 15 videos that are missing. Now, how many people want to guess whether or not all 15 were removed by YouTube, or if he took down a bunch to make it look worse than it is? I just can't be generous with this guy. I have to think the worst. He's proven time and time again that he doesn't deserve any slack. When you set yourself up for terms of service violations by literally uploading audio of children being beaten and all these other different things that this motherfucker does, when you set yourself up, don't be surprised when shit comes back at you. Especially if you're going to lie and say that me and TCR and Lazy Bedhead and Spindling and Turkey Tom and Lanza and Lyrics and Himpleton and Smaggle and whoever the fuck else is a hanger-on. When you say that all of those people are conspiring against you and doing a bunch of things to you and you make up lies about that, in my mind, that makes me think, why don't I just report you? Because you actually are breaking terms of service. You actually are being a piece of shit and putting gore in thumbnails of unage-restricted videos, hoping that children see it. You are actually committing all of these violations, and you're going to tell everyone that I am mass reporting you when I'm not, so I might as well mass report you. Well played, Dylan. You're a true game master. You just fucked yourself. Good evening, everybody. Once again, we're here to talk about Plagued Moth. As I said in my previous video on April 1st, I wanted to make a video that was sort of digestible about certain aspects regarding Plagued Moth and what he's doing online. And no, that wasn't an April Fool's joke. I am actually going to try to do this. I'm trying to keep the videos under 5 minutes. Here we go. So Plagued Moth has been proven to be lying about threats against his family. How has he been proven? Let's take a look. This is a comment that encapsulates what a lot of people have been saying ever since Plagued Moth started with his bullshit. Kumo Spidey recently commented, "For supposedly being the person putting Moth's house and job at risk, Moth sure likes to endanger his family by constantly interacting with you." Interesting, isn't it? If Moth's family is at risk, if his children are at risk, if he is at risk, if his wife is at risk, why does he brazenly and constantly incite people to dislike him and talk about him and go after him? Now, nobody has gone after him. He has made up every single instance of someone going after him. He says he got swatted. No evidence. He says that people have called his job. No evidence. He says people have had his car towed. No evidence. He says someone is following him in real life. No evidence. He said somebody drove by his house and took pictures. No evidence. There's no evidence to anything this dude says, and every single thing he brings up is more outlandish and unbelievable than the last. However, let's take a trip into Moth's world, or as we call it here in reality, Fantasyland. Let's take a look at Moth's claims and see if they're valid, just on the face of it. So, in the first instance, we have the idea that people are after Plagued Moth, and people are after his family, they're after his house, they're after his job, they're after his car, they're after his cats, they're after his bird, they're after his bearded dragon, they're after everything that he has brought up online himself and put in harm's way. Let's say that people are after all of those things. By constantly inciting attacks against people, by constantly lying, by constantly making drama streams and videos where he gets drunk and talks about people's family, talks about killing people's family, about them dying. When he does this, he is inciting people against him. So if people are actually against his family, and are actually trying to find his family, then him constantly inciting that makes him a bad father, makes him a horrible person. Picture this. You are in an online argument, and the other person says to you, "I'm going to find your family, and I'm going to hurt them." What would you say to that person? Would you say, A, bring it on, bitch? B, here are the names of my family members? Or C, nothing, you'd block them, move on with your life, and not interact with that person again, possibly reporting them to authorities? If you said C, you're a normal person. If you said A or B, you're Plagued Moth. Now, there is an alternate theory that we can work with here. Instead of saying that perhaps Dylan Morgan is right and people are trying to go after him, and he just is a shitty parent and a shitty family member who keeps throwing everybody out like meat shields in front of him, maybe there's another option. Option number 2, none of it happened and he's making it up. If nobody has actually threatened him, and if nobody has called his work, and if nobody has called his house, and nobody has tried to tow his car, and if there's nobody following him around in a trench coat and fedora, then that makes everything a lot simpler, doesn't it? Then you just have Dylan Morgan lying about what's going on. That explains everything. That explains why he's comfortable and feels safe threatening people online, threatening to kill people online, threatening people's family members. This is why he feels comfortable and safe doing everything he does, because he knows nothing has happened to him and nothing will happen to him. And thus, we've proven that it is one of these two options. Either Plagued Moth is a horrible father who is risking the lives of his family over his own ego and wallet, or, other option, Plagued Moth is lying about everything. Those are the only two possible options. Which one do you believe? Now, you may remember on my channel that I posted a YouTube short showing exactly how many times Dylan Morgan has threatened people online by showing just one day of reporting his tweets for violent threats and harassment. Not even a full day, like 30 minutes of going through his Twitter and just reporting anything on the surface level that was a threat or harassment. This is how many times he fucking did that. This is evidence of the fact that he is threatening people and harassing people online. Meanwhile, when he makes claims that people are threatening him, calling his house, doing this, that, and the other thing, he has no evidence to show because it is not happening. All he has is one faked screenshot with an obviously edited username. So, I want you to write in the comments below. Put a 1 if you believe that Plagued Moth is a horrible father and a horrible family member who is putting his family in harm's way for his own ego and for money. Or put 2 if you think there are actually no threats against him and he's not at risk at all. Again, those are your only 2 options, Moth. Hey guys, welcome to April. April 1st, April Fool's Day. Who better to talk about than Plagued Moth on a day about fools? We're going to be talking about Plagued Moth scamming his audience. Now this is part of a series of short videos I want to make, very digestible, easy, short videos that will go over certain aspects of Plagued Moth and his acts on YouTube as well as beyond. We're going to get into some dirty stuff on this dude. We're going to get into some horrible fucking shit about this guy. But we're going to start off talking about him scamming his audience for money. So a while back, Plagued Moth claimed that he had no job and he had no income. And this was putting his family into dire straits.
I'm hoping to go to Subscribestar. I'm waiting on an approval though, and I really don't know how long this is going to take. So this is really shitty at the moment. And also before the get a job cope comes in, telling YouTubers who make far more money than you, typically that is kind of stupid. That is a cope. This is a job, I pay taxes, get over it. And speaking of which, my plan from this point is to just plan for the next couple days and start grinding out probably daily videos until I can't no more, because I'm going to give it all back to the community who has given me so much, and even those who can only support me by watching out there. I do love you and appreciate you too. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you. And it's a tough spot, but we'll get through it, and I'm trying to be as transparent as I can in the situation and tell you what I know. So no, I'm not going to beg for shekels, but if you are feeling generous, there's no direct way to support me anymore besides going to my Beacons page. You can leave a donation there if you would like. I'm not asking for that because normally I would show my Patreon where I could at least give you my content in return. Right now, maybe I'll start just emailing people back who donate the whole fucking Dropbox or something, because any money that I get would actually be helping right now for medical care and groceries and stuff as the time comes on, because I feel like I'm not going to be getting my money at all. And I'm really getting into my savings and shit because of the insulin pump, and I just wanted my kid to be comfy. And it backfired because of people attacking me because of who I am and for outing them for who they are too. And it's really, really shitty that I get the short end of the stick because I'm the soy social justice warrior of the gore community. So obviously, I'm the enemy.
And to illustrate this even more, I'm going to just wholesale use a clip from Lanza's video about Plagued Moth and just show you exactly how much this guy was e-begging and how much he was crying poverty.
On March 26th, Moth would get back to asking for money from his subscribers, this time starting up a Buy Me a Coffee page to do so. As more people started to question why he keeps asking them for money, with his fans defending him, saying it's to secure a better future for his kids. A friend of his would start to help him by setting up a raffle to pay for the expenses that he currently had. A small look into his dire situation would appear in his Discord server, such as stating how a bag of chips is all he had for lunch that day, that he's going to try to buy cheese, how his appointment is that day and he hopes he's charged at a later date, and that he's running low on basic necessities to make what is assumed to be bread. He'd also straight up say his bank account is in the negative and that the raffle needs more traction, going on to eBay some more on Twitter as more and more people started to question why he keeps asking others for money so much online. Moth would actually mention this in his Discord server, showing that he's noticing all these people questioning him, saying that he should have made political content to grift for the far right and get a bit sarcastic with someone trying to give advice on what kind of content to try and shift into. It would also come out that the raffle in his Discord server wasn't actually his stuff, but rather a subscriber who wanted to help him out. And when asked about why it wasn't his stuff, he would say that it was against the rules for every raffle everywhere or something. He would mention on Twitter it was embarrassing to ask for handouts so much after losing his main streamer revenue, and then go on to ask for a new light bulb for his bearded dragon, with some giving him a couple bucks in order to do so. Of course, some of his same detractors would peep in and ask why he keeps begging for money online, and says he's not even making the videos he promised on Subscribestar and hasn't uploaded in 2 weeks on YouTube, and others would tell him not to adopt animals that he can't take care of as he replies as such to him. Moth will continue to e-beg on Twitter whenever he felt the need to, and would even send an email over to a former Patreon subscriber asking them to move over to Subscribestar or buy me a coffee so that they can get back to donating to him monthly.
So there you have it. You have Plagued Moth saying in no uncertain terms to his audience that he lost his income, he lost his revenue, he lost his main source of money. He says to his audience in no uncertain terms that he cannot afford food, that his bank account is in the negative, he has no money, he has nothing coming in. Oh no, he's lost it all because of TCR and his evil gang of whatever the fuck he wants to say this week. So what if I told you that none of that was fucking true? In fact, recently, Plagued Moth came out with a video where he said that he had a job the entire time, and he was making money the entire time, and he lied to his audience. He directly said that he lied to his audience for money. Here we go.
And starting to rebuild and everything has been very difficult, and there is one thing I have not been honest with you guys about, and it's the fact that this whole time I've had an in-person job. Now, the reason I said, oh, YouTube's my only thing, is because I was afraid of losing my in-person job due to this harassment. Well, unfortunately, that did happen.
Now, of course, Plagued Moth didn't really get fired because anybody is harassing him, and nobody called his work. If that was happening, he would have recorded it on his phone, you know, like with a speakerphone. He would have jumped at the opportunity to show that everything he was saying is true. But no, there's nothing, as usual, no evidence of anything that he makes up. So what happened was he probably spat in the ketchup and got fired. But in order to make this claim that the people who were after him took his job away, he needed to admit that he had a job. And so he just wholesale says to his audience, I lied to you. I had a job. I was e-begging for money. I was saying that I had no money. I was saying that I had no income. But I was lying to you to steal your fucking money, to scam you. So this is, again, just the digestible video, a short video going over Plagued Moth and his scamming of his audience. We'll be going into other topics, hopefully in videos that are just as short.
There is one thing I have not been honest with you guys about.
Hey, guess what? Plagued Moth had another live stream where he broke down yet again and was going crazy and saying a bunch of really weird, random things that made no sense, and was generally getting frazzled and distraught. And I know it's a big shocker, right? Plagued Moth had a live stream last night on his second channel, because his first channel is struck with a bunch of violations for putting like gore in his thumbnails and all the different shit that he decided to do, and then decided to say, "Nya-ha-ha, no one can stop me." Looks like YouTube was fully capable of stopping you. He had a live stream on his secondary channel, and he was basically mad that his channel got struck, and he started talking about a bunch of crazy shit. Now, we're going to get into some really wild stuff in the next couple videos, and to illustrate just how crazy he got, the first video we're going to be doing is talking about him once again threatening that creepy reading. Like, the threats are the least crazy part. So that should tell you what's coming up. But yeah, I'm just going to let it run. Here's Plagued Moth threatening TCR yet again.
Not TCR at MomoCon, trying to tell all the people that I'm trying to kill him again because I tweeted out that I'm coming to get him with an Undertaker gif. If I wanted to get him, I'd get him. I'm actually not far from him. It's a drive, but it would be a funny one. I would love to give the boy a stern talking to. And especially since he likes, to beat off the kids, I'm pretty sure that nobody would disagree. And before Slimebeast has 10 more videos saying I'm threatening people's lives. He better hope that he don't see me, actually. For the things he's said about my children, the things he's done, and the people he's victimized, for his sake, he should stay away. So.
Now, once again, I want to remind everybody that TCR is going to be suing Plagued Moth. My lawsuit that I fundraised, I'm going to be putting that money toward TCR doing it, because as Plagued Moth said, they're in the same state. So it's easy enough for, TCR to go after him rather than people who are out of state, which would be me or anybody else, especially people who are across the sea in different countries. This is going to be played in court. What the fuck? I mean, not this actual video of me right now, but this clip. This clip of Plagued Moth is going to get played in court. And he's going to have to explain why he keeps threatening to go and attack TCR. And make no mistake, a jury and a judge, they're not fucking idiots. They're not going to sit there and say, oh, well, he said that he would like to go drive out and beat up TCR, or he would like to do this, or he should do that. He didn't actually say he would do it. Like, a judge and the jury, they're not going to play that schoolyard bullshit. They're not going to be like, well, technically he didn't. They're going to be like, no, it's clear that your intent is to make somebody feel unsafe. It's clear that your intent is to harass and harangue and threaten somebody. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty. Alright, let's look at another case of Plagued Moth losing his grip on reality and detaching from the world around him. Plagued Moth thinks that people in real life, people that he encounters in his day-to-day activities, are recognizing him from his YouTube channel. The guy with the dying channel, who gets barely any views and barely anyone coming to his live streams, thinks that multiple people who happen to live in his town are big fans of his and get completely shocked when they see him in real life. Not to mention the fact his channel is on a super, super niche topic, which is gore and child pornography.
I'm a bit shy. Shout out to the guy. I don't even know if, there was somebody who recognized me not too long ago, and I acted kind of weird again because it just threw me off guard. And I was like, I was nice. He was so fucking kind. You guys who do recognize me are awesome. I just ask that you understand that I'm a very tired person. And I get shy and scared when people approach me. I'm kind of like, huh? Like, what? I'm not used to that. But as time goes on, I mean, shit, I can't wait to pop up at conventions and meet people and see things and give out that experience from, a genuine person, a genuine content creator is art, because it's I'm not out there for the fucking the dollar in my video. I mean, I like to earn money off my content, but I mean, you know what I'm trying to say? I don't have that monetized content. I'm not sitting here censoring myself for whatever. People know who I am.
Oh, man. Okay, so write in the comments below, do you think Moth is just lying, or do you think he is insane enough to think that anyone who looks at him in real life, probably because he's acting like a weirdo, recognizes him from his channel? Does he actually think people recognize him and are big fans of his in his local area, or do you think he's making it up? Just write in the comments below what you think. Well, that's crazy enough, but at least Plagued Moth has never claimed that he has given autographs to people who have met him on the street and recognized him from his tiny dead channel, right?
I'd be like really surprised that people like fangirling over me or anything, but people do. Like this guy, like he was so happy. I shouldn't say fangirling, like that almost sounded belittling in that way, but like, he was so happy to see me, just to see me, to know that I'm like right there. And I wish I could have gave him a little bit better of an experience. It just kind of threw me off. It just surprised me. And for anybody who does see me or meet me, just, you know, understand that my intentions are good. I don't mean to be weird. I come off weird. I am socially awkward. I think I handled it well, but I'm worried that I didn't, is the problem. And it's like, I keep thinking about the interaction because I'm like, oh my God, you know, I probably made that dude's night. And I was just going through it and getting ready to go home for the night. So it was kind of interesting. And I want to have more fan interactions. I do, and I want to have them more. Obviously, I've never had a bad one, but I want to have really positive ones and be able to even take pictures with people and shit. It's just been a lot. But I think after this dust settles and stuff, that will be the thing. So next time somebody recognizes me, I'm like, oh hey, you know, hey, like, you want a picture? Like, I don't want to like impose and assume. I gave an autograph before. That was really weird. That was so weird. I even gave a photo with it to verify it was real. It's like, man, you think I'm valuable like that? Wait, what? I've never done that before. It was so weird for me. And, oof.
Oh, fuck. Oh, man. Can you imagine being the guy who has a Plagued Moth autograph, like, in 2024? Picture this guy walking into, like, a pawn shop and saying, hey, how much can I get for this autographed photo of Plagued Moth? And the guy behind the counter says, who is Plagued Moth? And the dude says, a guy who watched child pornography 5 times and admitted it on live streams. I think you'd have to pay somebody to take that shit off your hands. But the purpose of this video, in actuality, is to highlight just how goofy Plagued Moth is getting. Like, he's getting silly. He's out here saying, you know, everybody's recognizing me on the street. I'm a big celebrity. Ha ha ha, everything's fine. My career is not in a total decline. I'm not in the fucking dumpster. People are recognizing me every day and just, you know, saying, hey, Plagued Moth, what's up? And I go, hey, buddy, want an autograph? And they say, yeah, selfie time. Like, I don't know how anyone can take anything he says seriously anymore. Hey guys, well, today is the big day. Today's announcement day. I have an announcement regarding the lawsuit against Dylan Morgan that I fundraised for a while back. And this is going to be a big announcement. It's going to be a plot twist. It's going to be something really good. And so, to that end, let's have some like trumpet fanfare. Let's have some trumpets playing right here. I'm gonna put in a sound clip of trumpets playing. Okay. All right. Well, now that that's out of the way, let's waste very little time here and just mention that Plagued Moth has been talking about the announcement that I've been putting forward. He's been freaking out and worrying and, you know, kind of shivering in his boots about the whole thing. He's been posting on Twitter saying, there is no announcement, there is nothing, nothing's happening, no, there are no tanks in Baghdad. It's like, there's nothing going on. Just putting out as much bullshit as he can to lie to his audience, as usual. He's lied to his audience multiple times about this. He posted up saying, Slimebeast says that he has a court date on the 13th of April, but that's a Saturday, and I haven't been notified, so his court date can't be that day. And I'm like, lil bro, small homie, come on now. Nobody said it was a court date. I said I had an announcement on the 13th, but he's been doing this type of shit where he's been lying to his people and, you know, treating them like fucking idiots and saying, you know, here's what the announcement is, but it can't be that. And of course he's just making up, you know, bullshit. So let's get to the actual announcement. Let's not keep you guys waiting any longer. So as you know, I ran a fundraiser where I, you know, collected a few $100s toward a lawsuit against Dylan Morgan, Plagued Moth. It was something like about $700. And yeah, one of the things I wrote on there was I said, if this money ends up not being used for the lawsuit, I'll donate it somewhere. And guess what? it's not going to be used for the lawsuit. It's going to be donated somewhere. Now, right now, Plagued Moth and his fans are watching this, and they're cheering, and they're saying, there will be no lawsuit. Ha ha, we were right. Ah ha ha, Plagued Moth wasn't lying. Oh, unfortunately, guys, unfortunately for you Plagued Moth fans, and unfortunately for Dylan himself, the reason I am donating this is because I am donating this money to That Creepy Readings lawsuit against Plagued Moth. That's right. Soon after the fundraiser, I was looking into lawyers. I was looking into lawyers in Tennessee. I was looking into lawyers where I thought Plagued Moth lived. Funny little thing, that. How does he claim that people were calling his job when he was pretending to be in Tennessee? How would that work? But anyway, while that was all going on, I'm going to decide on my own to just put the money toward That Creepy Readings lawsuit. Number one, That Creepy Reading has much more pull, like in the YouTube community, and he'll be able to, really stick it to Plagued Moth a lot more than I could, like in terms of a legal battle. Like, That Creepy Reading can actually show where Plagued Moth has cost him money, and show that in court, and bring receipts. Plagued Moth can't really get to me, because I don't use YouTube as like a revenue source. Second, as it turns out, That Creepy Reading happens to live in the same area as Dylan Morgan, so he can fucking sue him very easily, because they're living in the same place. None of this cross-state shit, none of this shit about trying to fly out or travel out to a court date. No, Plagued Moth, you're right in the perfect spot to get sued. And by the way, Dylan, don't think that leaving the state or moving somewhere out of state will help, because the offenses you committed were in your current state, so your court case would be in your current state. You would have to travel back for it. Third, and perhaps most importantly to me, freeing myself up from suing Plagued Moth and just backing TCR's lawsuit against him, freeing myself up from that gave me the opportunity to continue talking and talking and talking and talking and talking about Plagued Moth and all the things he's done, and digging and digging and digging into his past until I found the picture of a naked child he saved. I wouldn't have been able to do that if I was keeping myself above everything for a potential lawsuit. So by backing That Creepy Readings lawsuit and by putting the donated money toward his suit that he's going to be filing, that enabled things like Plagued Month, as we're seeing right now. So yeah, that's my announcement. My announcement is that That Creepy Reading is pushing through with suing Plagued Moth. He's going to be doing some stuff with that soon. I don't want to say too much. And on my side of it, I decided to sort of throw in with him, support his endeavors from the outside, and free myself up to be able to say whatever the fuck I want about this piece of shit. One of the things that Plagued Moth likes to do is call people schoolyard names, like a little baby. And one of the names he's called TCR is the Gerbil Man, because TCR owns, I guess, a guinea pig. And Plagued Moth doesn't know the difference. So I'd like to end this video by saying, hey Plagued Moth, the gerbil is coming for that ass. So if you went to somebody's Twitter profile and their bio said Demon of Detroit, what state would you think they might live in? I'll give you a little bit of time here to try to figure out where the Demon of Detroit might be. If you said Michigan, that's a pretty good answer. That's a valid guess. So Plagued Moth likes to talk about how he has been doxxed. And in the past, people have doxxed him. And this is way before I got involved, way before TCR got involved, way before Lazy Bedhead got involved, way before a lot of people got involved that he accuses of doxing him. I guess we traveled backward in time in our evil magic clown car. But all of that past doxing aside, these days, Plagued Moth likes to say that I am doxing him. So let's go through that right now. First of all, Plagued Moth's information, again, was doxed long before I was involved, including his address in Michigan. I'm not going to show any of that on screen, nor am I going to direct you to it, because unlike Dylan Morgan, I don't direct people to dox others.
If you Google, you'll find that he's been living at the same address since he moved from New York when he was a kid, after his dad died or something, or abandoned the family.
Ooh, Plagued Moth, you just told your audience to find my address. But yeah, along with talking about where I live, he likes to talk about my family. He's doxed names of my family members, and yeah, so on and so forth. He's just a pig. Suffice to say, Plagued Moth's name and address, public information long ago. Now, beyond that, Plagued Moth also apparently was featured on an album under his own name, and was added to a heavy metal website, so information regarding his name is public. And when you go back and look at who added his name to this website, it's not one of his haters. It's a person with an actual history on the site who has been adding information to it. So he can't even blame this on people who disliked him. Now, more recently, Plagued Moth has been talking about the fact that he's getting evicted. And this naturally made people look and see, is it true? Is he actually being evicted, or is he making it up? And people found his records of his eviction. You wouldn't think it would be a problem to post this up. This is a website showing that, yes, the eviction is real. Now, you may notice that there is no address on this image. Plagued Moth's address was not doxed, nor is it anywhere on that website at all. Interesting. Now let's hear how Plagued Moth reframed that. By which I mean, let's listen to Plagued Moth lie about that.
Slimy said I'm doxing him. Well, he put his address publicly, whereas he posts my private address. I lied about being in Tennessee for over a year, and he posted my full name and address and everything publicly on Twitter. But Slimebeast keeps posting my eviction court documents, so yeah, I'm in Kalamazoo, guys. That guy you probably think is me is me. I don't even fucking care anymore.
And the funny thing is, not only does he do that, but he goes the extra mile to dox himself. Like, this dude does not know when to fucking stop. And this is coming from Slimebeast.
Hi, I'm in Michigan. Anybody on the fucking west side of Michigan in Kalamazoo area, by the way?
So there you have it, folks. The dude posted his own information on the internet, thus making it public by his own hand, purposefully, seemingly casually, with no care for whether or not anybody knew it. And again, this information was not posted by anyone before him. Oh yeah, he did say one more thing, didn't he?
But Slimebeast keeps posting my eviction court documents.
When you say that it's being posted up multiple times, do you mean once? Because it happened once, and I'm just trying to make sure. Is that what you mean when you say that, you know, it happened multiple... Okay, you're just lying. Okay, cool. Now, the shitty thing about this is that Plagued Moth very famously was posting up TCR's location. He's talked about my location. He's talked about my family. He's talked about TCR's family, his pets. He's talked about other content creators' families. He's wished people's families dead. He's wished a baby dead. He's done all of this shit, and yet he sees fit to cry wolf and to whine and piss himself over something he himself put out onto the internet. I mean, make no mistake, just to drive this home, when I appeared on a stream recently with Plagued Moth where I just shat on him the entire time and called him names over and over and over and over and over again, I made it a point to mention his name and location. Why? Because he already made it public, and I wanted to see the absolute freak out. And it just, oh god, it paid off in spades. Because this dude has been talking about my location, he's been talking about my family, he's been talking about all this shit, but he cannot take what he dishes out, even when it's stuff that he himself was saying on a previous stream. Every video is just surprising as to the levels of stupidity and dishonesty he will descend to. Where are we going to be by the end of the month? I don't fucking know. By the way, somebody in the comments guessed correctly. This is Plagued Month. I was waiting to see if anybody got that. We started on April 1st. This is going to be a month of videos because Plagued Moth likes to complain about how many videos I make, so I'm going to make 30 days of videos. After that, they're all going to be put together in one big video, and all of these short ones will be unlisted. See you then, motherfuckers. Alright, so we've done some videos that have been pretty heavy in terms of subject matter. Plagued Moth's pedophilia, Plagued Moth's racism, Plagued Moth's grooming online, Plagued Moth's illegal activities, Plagued Moth this, Plagued Moth that, all these horrible fucking things that this asshole has been doing, while accusing other people of what he's doing to try to cause like a smokescreen. Terrible topics, horrible things to have to deal with, so today we're going to have a fun video. This is the fun part of Plagued Month, where we're going to do just something fun, and we're going to read comments on this video here. This is a video that Plagued Moth put up, basically begging his audience for help in fighting people, inciting them against that creepy reading and me and, you know, Lazy Bedhead and these other people, Cold Raven, trying to incite his audience and, you know, build up hate and try to get people to attack his enemies. There's a lot of YouTubers out there who will say, don't contact these people, don't harass these people, please, you know, don't go after anyone I'm talking about. Plagued Moth literally tells you, Google their names, Google their address, here's the link in the chat, here's the link to their Twitter, go bother them, do this, do that, post about them, you know, make false accusations. This guy's a fucking psychopath. So in this video begging for sympathy and begging for help and, you know, telling people how terrible things have gotten in his life and lying to his audience yet again by making up the false story that people have been calling his work, suffice to say this didn't work. So let's take a look at some of the comments below, and we're just going to read comments from viewers who have commented on this video, and we're just going to have a good time. At the top of the list here, we have Levi Bosforo saying, you reap what you sow. Pure and simple. Perfect comment. Nothing more need be said. We could end the video right now, and basically that would say everything that we need to say. Plagued Moth is reaping what he has sown by lying and being a degenerate piece of shit. Rainbow Mashed Potato says, you have more drama than literal drama and T-channels. Please stop. I'm sorry, Rainbow, but Plagued Moth doesn't value your opinion and will not stop. Unlike me, someone who has been doing drama videos since the beginning of my channel, and I wouldn't, you know, necessarily classify them as drama videos, but a lot of people would, so I just kind of say, alright, whatever you want to call them. Someone like me who has been doing these videos since the beginning of my channel, you know, nobody can come here and say, please go back to what you used to do, because what I used to do is this. But yeah, unfortunately, Rainbow, he's not going to listen to you. He's going to put out more and more drama, and he's going to cause more and more drama in an attempt to grift people and try to get sympathy donations. This guy says, the biggest crime here is that missing beard. And holy shit, dude, are you right? Like, this guy handed the world a gift on a silver platter by shaving that fucking beard and making himself look like essentially a jack-o'-lantern made out of an eggplant. Anthony Williams says, and this message has been brought to you by the letter K. K for karma. Fucking shit. Michael Rude says, I'm going to state the obvious here, not hating, but do you really think gore and bipolar is a good combo? Motherfucker hit the nail on the fucking head. Plagued Moth, listen to your viewers, dude. Listen to your fucking viewers. If you're going to make a video saying that your mental health is in crisis, maybe stop watching babies getting fucking slaughtered. This should be obvious. And this is part of the thing where Plagued Moth claims that he's getting help from like a therapist and stuff, which is none of my fucking business. And it wouldn't be my business unless he brought it up publicly, constantly, which he does. So what I'm going to say is that Plagued Moth needs to stop lying to his therapist. Because no therapist on Earth would suggest that he keep doing what he's doing. So either he's lying to his therapist about what he does, or he's not taking their fucking advice. Either way, fucking terrible. Cat Food says, bye! It's a nice, concise one, yeah. Hash Slinging Banger says, get a job, please. Become better, for you make me reflect. The first part of that I agree with. Zocket. Zocket with another fucking mic drop here. Things have gotten bad. Wonder why. Jesus fucking Christ. Oh, fucking shit. Oh, man. Reiki Tali? Whatever. Says, stop laughing at dead people and clean up your act. Best of luck. Very helpful advice. That is actually probably what a therapist would suggest if he is going to one. They would say, stop doing what you're doing. Fix your life. Arnie Finisisix says, good, don't come back. Another mic drop. And Heavy Metal Rehab says, what doctor would pull a patient off from psych meds all at once? That is like the #1 psych med no-no. If your doctor actually did that, reputable doctors will not. I would encourage you to find a psychiatrist that is a better fit for your needs. So we've got somebody here questioning whether or not Plagued Moth is actually getting help with anything like he says. Not me. This commenter right here. Arming9232 says, "You destroyed yourself, man. Do I feel bad? I absolutely do. But dude, even now, you don't seem to take responsibility for anything. Not even one bit. Everything is somebody else's fault, man." I don't know why I'm adding man on here. "That isn't working, obviously. Anyway, I wish your daughter to be safe and sound. She didn't do anything wrong. Best wishes from me." And that's pretty much what everybody has said. Everybody has said that they hope his family is okay, including me. I'm somebody who warned him that someone was looking for his family, and so he turned that around, lied to his audience, and said I was the one looking, because he's a bitch and a piece of shit. Zayzen, whatever the fuck, says, "Na na na na, na 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 na, hey hey hey." Drowsy Spook says, "Womp womp." Again, the people with the good points here keep it very brief. And Chris Umtuzum says, "Here you go, start begging for money again," which he did in various live streams after this post. Jaguary says, "Okay, bye, good luck." Alan Pendragon says, "Take a shower." Carva says, "Gorgod, lol, so edgy, man." Opalantic says, "Fuck's sake, forgot about this guy for like a year, and now he looks like the second coming of Euronymous." Okay. I have no idea who that is, but that probably is a very deep burn. Yay Tubable says, "You literally watch babies die and laugh about it and profit off it. That in and of itself is gross. But then, when anyone calls you out, you put on this fake woke mask. You didn't expose anyone. Your brain is so fried and desensitized to awful shit that you just call people who you don't like literally the worst thing you can call a person, like it's no big deal." YouTube user says, "You are the worst kind of smug nerd. That's why people have no sympathy for you." Sea Rabbit says, "I used to watch you. Now I see how disgusting what you do is. You literally watch people die for a living and joke about it. Fine God, dude, you need him," which, debatable. "I'm not a hater, I just think you need help." Cody the Aussie Brony says, "Slimebeast, Moth is desperate for relevancy." I never said that. Also Slimebeast, milking the shit out of Moth. Oh, welcome to Plagued Month, motherfucker. Strap in and bend over. I don't know how you would do that. It doesn't make any sense, but here we go. Empty Hermit says, "Crybaby, go report more people for hurting your feelings. The hurter of feelings. Ha 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 ha. Trying to cover for something there, champ?" The Survivalist Gamer says, "The way you've acted because you gained a bit of fame was disgusting. You just don't deserve it. Quit YouTube and move on." John Doe says, "Moth, you do realize this is all your fault? So, nice cope vid." Dull Animations says, "I used to be a fan, dude, but you seriously need to stay off the internet and get a real job. Reaction to people dying and poking fun at children's death under the guise of bringing light on such topics is not only horrible, it's not a real job. People, including you, should never make internet beef seep into IRL interactions, but you definitely are not innocent." This is a very even-handed, very balanced way to look at it. I will say nobody has put anything into Plagued Moth's real life, just Plagued Moth. That one cunt says, "This guy is a loser. Quality content for him is watching innocent people get brutally murdered and laughing about it. God, what a weirdo." And then Funnyball says, "Rip Bozo Lamau." Now, some of you may be wondering why I'm still talking about Plagued Moth after all this time, but the fact is this. When I put out a video about Plagued Moth's career, I'm making money off the dead. Today is a day of celebration, because today is the day that we beat Plagued Moth. That's right, Plagued Moth has been defeated. Dylan Morgan started out his career on YouTube making Among Us videos and Trisha Paytas videos, and eventually he decided to represent himself as the Gore God, the Hurter of Feelings, big scary Satan man, and he, decided to make videos about gore and reacting to gore and laughing at people dying and making fun of people dying. And eventually all of that came back to bite him in the ass because, people looked at what he was doing, thought it was kind of distasteful, thought it was kind of sick of him to make fun of children dying, and that has essentially brought about everything that came afterward. This is all of his own doing, just by virtue of him being a tremendous asshole. So, what if I told you that Plagued Moth is now going to stop? He's going to stop doing that. He has said in his own words to his audience, that he's going to stop making reaction videos to gore, stop being flippant about them. He's going to just go and make his documentaries, which aren't really actually documentaries, but we'll let him have that little bit of cope and let him call his, shitty videos documentaries. Here's Plagued Moth on a live stream telling his audience that he will no longer be doing the types of videos that got him in hot water in the first place.
You're going to see a lot less smaller, more goofy, reactive, exploitive videos or whatever, because I'm kind of tired of picking on the fact that that's what they're bitching about, because in the end, it's whatever. I just don't feel the passion for that as much. It felt more like a necessity, and then what am I supposed to tell you?
Now, you may notice that Plagued Moth called his own videos exploitative, which would mean that when he makes videos about children, he would consider that child exploitation, but we're going to move past that and continue here. So there you have it, folks. Unless he is lying to his audience for the billionth time, which is entirely possible, we have defeated Plagued Moth, and we have gotten him to stop fucking making crass, stupid-ass videos where he makes fun of people, getting murdered, tortured, where he makes light of children being attacked, and all of this stuff. He sort of has walked back and backed off of that idea for content on his channel. So everybody give yourself a pat on the back. I'm passing out party hats and streamers. We're going to have a fireworks show in a couple hours here. He has backed down. Now, this is something interesting because Plagued Moth, throughout his entire career, has had this Billy Badass internet tough guy persona that he puts on. Former barista at Starbucks, by the way. And part of this put-on facade has been, you're never going to get me to change. I'm always going to be doing what I do. I'm going to do whatever I want, and you can just cry and cope and seethe and maul about it. But as we've seen, Plagued Moth has been shoved back. He has been pushed back from what he's been doing, and hopefully he makes a good change. This is the part where we get a little sappy. Plagued Moth has shown time and again that he does not deserve an ounce of empathy, because the minute you're empathetic toward him, the minute you try to reason with him, the minute you try to be fair with him, he exploits that and tries to victimize people. But, we're going to be a little bit sappy here and say that let's hope he actually changes his content. Let's hope he isn't lying to his audience, endlessly, yet again. Let's hope he actually stops making fun of children dying. There's not much else to say in this video. I'm keeping this one really short because last one went too long. So, there you go. Balance is restored.
And the Sophie Ryan thing, that's probably the worst because there's actual, I had to see some fucked shit for that one. I was reporting content that I saw, so inadvertently, yes, but it's not like I'm keeping shit and keeping on my computer editing it. I don't.
Having to see that much of children, it was bad. I stopped reporting it. I couldn't take it anymore. I couldn't take looking at it anymore, and it was just fucking disgusting. And these kids are sharing that around. It's like, okay, that's a felony. If anybody remembers LimeWire, that was the only time that I have ever had an incident where shit like that popped up, or I've been able to, or had to see that. She was 13. She gave out her first and middle name, where she lived. There was she had 500 fucking middle-aged men in her comments saying the most disgusting things, and she was just queefing.
And I don't like that DD is a household meme, more or less. The commentary community memes on it. It's so funny to joke about Peter Scully and baby rape, and it's like, is it really fucking funny? And then, you cocksuckers will make videos about how I'm bad. It's like, meanwhile, you're joking about babies being raped.
Oh shit. Hold on. Chad, wait. I'm going to pull it up on stream right now. Are you ready? Are you ready? I'm going to pull... oh my god, you're going to see it. You're going to see it. You're never going to believe it. Oh my god. It's so fucking scary. The real deal right here. Behold, DD! Like, the fact that that dude is a household name is appalling. I'm all for dark jokes. I have made some real regrettable ones myself too, but when it comes down to boy like memeing on like DD type shit, I'm like, come on, you gotta stop. Like, that's not even... You can't even find the substance in the stupid heh. There's not even a heh. It's just like, okay, you want to talk about edgelording? Ugh. I know I'm one to talk. I've made so many fucked up jokes, but like, I got my opinions too. And I do have my boundaries and lines too. MomoCon's kind of dumb, in my opinion. I've seen the guest list and shit, and I'm just like, oh. The fact that TCR says that he's invited every time is funny because you can sign up and you have to pay to go. It's not like that. And for someone who hasn't made content in years, you're not getting invited anywhere. Like, why lie? But then again, he lies about not wanting to fuck kids, and then again he says he grew out of doing that. What do I know? Fair enough, but he goes, come on now, you know that someone who literally does not make content isn't in that bracket. Someone who had, like, the boy is not popular enough. He's pushing 30 in the last... His big break was trying to, quote-unquote, expose me. And that's been his content for a year. Whenever he decides to release something. I know he ain't getting invited back. He spends his goodwill paycheck on that shit. And you know what? I don't blame him. I don't. Because if there was a convention that I could buy into right now and go and attend as a guest and stuff, I would. But I also wouldn't lie about it. I wouldn't sit there and act like I'm some honored motherfucker. I would be like, yeah, I bought my ass in here. Come on, let's go. Like, hang out with me. The fact that TCR says that he's invited every time is funny because you can sign up and you have to pay to go. It's not like that. And for someone who hasn't made content in years, you're not getting invited anywhere. Like, why lie? But then again, he lies about not wanting to fuck kids, and then again he says he grew out of doing that. What do I know? Fair enough, but he goes, come on now, you know that someone who literally does not make content isn't in that bracket. Someone who had, like, the boy is not popular enough. He's pushing 30 in his big break was trying to, quote-unquote, expose me. And that's been his content for a year. Whenever he decides to release something. I know he ain't getting invited back. He spends his Goodwill paycheck on that shit. I really hope that at the end of the day, some people can understand how how it is, like, for me. Eventually, I think I'll be able to delegate to, like, people how my mental health actually affects me, because my mental health is so commonly used, but it's like, my CPTSD is like a lot of others, where it's like I battle my own brain on a daily basis, and it's like you're actively trying to bring harm to yourself or something in some way, some self-sabotage or something. It's like everything's rewired in the wrong way because of damage, and that's not anybody else's fault, but navigating around that, you know what I mean, it's taking me so long. And I'm not even at the point where I consider myself mentally stable on that. And that's not fair to anyone. I mean, it's already not fair to my family around me that has to deal with me on my downs. You know, where I'm just like, I'm not all here. They talk about the things that they're, and it's like I battle my own brain on you never hear that it's like for us as victims actively trying to about that and coming out and bring harm to yourself. People who produce something bad, self-sabotage or something, it's like I feel that everything's rewired the wrong way. Very dark tidbit of damage. I feel that at the end of my iceberg, anybody common knowledge. That's why certain things like around that Amber, it's taking me so long. And mass there is a niche like their school of pedophile, and that's why certain things, like for example, Amber play more or less. You know, they would show a child, not all here, and they would show what they looked like on their school yearbook photos. I just know it'll get better after, and it's crazy.